shit. Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, hey, Vigesh. I'm just getting these last few little bits of audio stuff dialed in, and then we'll come to you guys in more like a schedule of when we're actually going to be streaming, and then you guys know when to look for us. Yeah. He made a cool. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't wait for his intro. Hey, yeah, what's up, guys? Hey, Australia representing again. Hey, what's up, Michael? I forgot you're from Australia. Yeah. Anyway, so I just have some screen. I didn't know what to start with. Someone asked me asked us to elaborate more on the elite in their bunkers, which I don't know if you guys are familiar. Andrew Yang speaks about very candidly, actually, the elites in their bunkers. So yeah, I thought it'd be fun to just kind of go through this little comic with you guys for a few minutes. And again, please, last night, guys, I really want you guys to let me know if anything sounds too loud or too quiet. Please let us know. That's one of the big things tonight. The reason why we're doing these last few streams, the last couple nights in a row, when copyright struck again, is just to make sure that we're sounding good for everyone. So thank you guys. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I don't know if bunkers won, but definitely it's one of the easier things to lead with. I was talking about the bunkers and what's going on with them. So we have Silicon Valley execs talking over dinner, and the conversation drifts to how the world might end. Detailed survival plans laid out. Biowarfare, disease crops, robot uprising. Oh man, which one's worse, guys? Biowarfare, disease crops, or robot uprising? Let me know. Have your supplies ready. Gold, guns, and money, and gas mask. Cool. Have a moped and guns ready. Very Silicon Valley. Private plane to Nevada. Meet billionaire buddies at the Gulfstream jet. Wow, that's something else. New Zealand is an enemy of no one. That's a good point. That's actually a really good point. New Zealand is an enemy of no one. I'd buy a bunker if I had the money. What do you mean capital? Is New Zealand an enemy of capitalism? Is they can let me know if New Zealand's socialist? It could be, right? I don't think New Zealand is socialist, though. Maybe you guys let me know in chat. I don't think it's socialist. Volume's a little low. Cool. Thank you. That is what I'm trying to figure out. So guys, let me know if this sounds any better for you guys in a second. I know some of you guys will say it already sounds loud enough, but I just want to know if this is actually louder for you guys. So there we go. Things should be louder. Please let me know if they are. Because we're trying to find a nice happy medium where you guys can hear us. An enemy of smog pump. Honestly, Borp, we're probably talking about a tiny prison cell built underneath the ground that's about the size of a closet, and you'll be safe, right? Like, I don't think it's like a Fallout vault, dude. I'm pretty sure a lot of these things are more kind of like hiding holes. Like, you'll be okay. You'll survive the initial explosions and stuff, but then you got to kind of figure things out for yourself. You know what I mean? So cool. Again, if you guys let me know if the audio sounds any louder for you guys or any better. Cool. Awesome. Thank you guys. Yang is not qualified for the next debate. Only a few polls have come out since the debate, so we're still waiting for more. You think Morgan people, I guess Silicon Valley elites, do you think they can afford like just straight up like that? That's a big build out, man. Like a house underneath there, right? You're like underground buildings, basically. Some crazy stuff, dude. I believe it, though. I believe it. If anyone's doing it, right, it'd be them. Exactly, though, yeah. So for anyone, I guess a quick recap, actually. It's a pretty good topic to bring up right now. Let me see if I can flip over real quick, and I'll show you guys some recent polling data. So Andrew Yang, after a ruling that's been called controversial by some from the DNC, he is currently one poll away from qualifying for the next debates. I believe, like I said, there's been 3 polls released since the end of the debates. It looks like Real Clear Politics is counting 2, but I saw a couple other ones tweeted out. So, but still, only a couple polls since the debates. None of the big important polls. I don't believe any of these are counting polls either. So here's on the screen where Andrew Yang is as far as the polls go. A little bit. Excuse me. He is obviously, like I said, he's kind of holding around. The last poll I saw come out, I think it was actually Politico Morning Consult. I saw it come out again. or just passed around again. He had about 2%. So that's where Andrew Yang is right now as far as the polling data goes.
What? I know. It's like, oh, I hate it when we start. We're not ready. It seriously bothers me.
All right, dude, calm down, man. Anyway, guys, sorry about that. I want to adjust that really quickly. But yeah, so there we go. That's where we are as far as things are for Andrew Yang. Mike Maloney took an indirect jab at Yang earlier today in his recent YouTube. Oh, interesting. I haven't seen that. Decline of the economy. To be frank, man, I don't know all the ins and outs of it. One thing that is actually interesting, though, is that for any of you guys who missed the story from earlier today, it's a bit interesting of a story. The Treasury Department designates China as a currency manipulator. That came out just earlier today. Finally. So, like, obviously, like I said, we are definitely looking into by we I mean the United States, but still, like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with the Chinese and us that I imagine would impact the economy. Like tariffs are one thing, but there's also a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and stuff like this can't help, right? So that's interesting. These other people, dude, there's 20 people running. I mean, I guess that'll be fun to highlight real quick. Let's look at that. Let's go back and just look at everybody who's still in this race. Where do I get the complete list? Here we go. All polling data. This isn't even everyone. This is most of them. We got Biden, Sanders, Warren, Harris.
Okay.
Buttigieg, O'Rourke, Booker, Yang, Castro, Gabbard, Steyer, Klobuchar. Wow, that's sad, man. Tom Steyer already. Hey, another funny story that happened. I guess Tom Steyer pulled some shenanigans. He doesn't have to disclose a lot of his financing stuff when he normally would. That's cool. He's just a billionaire, but whatever. I'm sure he's going to have a hard time scrounging up where he got the money from. So there's also that. So that's a fun one. But hey, if he makes the debates, holy cow, can you imagine that? Also, for any of you guys who didn't hear,
it will be the most boring debate known to man because all he's going to do is complain against Trump and why he needs to be impeached.
Yeah.
And while looking like an insane madman, he will talk about how insane and mad the Trump is. Or the president is.
The Trump, dude.
The Trump. Donald.
Well, but yeah, again, like it's not going to separate himself from anyone. It's just going to be kind of, literally preaching to the choir again. So I don't know. We'll see how that works for him. But it's just weird seeing that he is actually. You look at Steyer and he's so high on the. He's above a lot of other people. You know what I'm saying? And that is weird. I kind of get it, but not really. Whoa, sorry. When will Yang play in Minecraft? Is Yang gonna play Minecraft? Is that a thing he talked about? That would be hilarious, man. I'd watch that. I'd watch a Yang Minecraft stream. Almost looking matches up. It's funny. What's going on, dude?
I'm hearing the mixer fan. Okay.
All right, yeah, so welcome, guys. Anyone who just joined. Again, we're just kind of hanging out today. Everyone in the chat. Again, please let me know if you're anything weird with the audio, out of place, too loud, too quiet. Please let me know. I want to get that right before we move on to some more organized and scheduled streams. So please let me know if you guys are hearing anything in the background, anything weird like that. Just let me know in chat. It means a lot. So thank you, guys. I feel like Andrew Yang, he's been, as far as his response to the attacks and everything, he's been pretty much, that's pretty much what I expect from Andrew Yang. I think he's, he kind of has always his well-measured or thought-out opinions, right? So I don't think, I don't know. I don't have too strong opinion on it, to be honest. I think he did pretty good. Like, I don't know if it's too great. I don't know if he's the best answer ever. It definitely didn't upset me in any way. So I think he kind of did what he normally does, man. He shows up and he says, hey, and they try to blame it on yeah, but I don't know, man. It's the easy, blaming it on something's always the easy way out, right? So in 2 nights we're gonna see him on the H3 thing. That'll be a lot of fun. Guys, like I said, just one more kind of laid back hangout stream from now. Moving forward, we'll kind of come up with more scheduled streams about more specific stuff, so you guys can be very so you guys can be more aware of them. I can't hear for the kids, yeah. But yeah, so that should be the way to go. We're going. So yeah. The whole world. Yeah, I mean it's, but dude, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff, but again, yes, I do think it's definitely. I definitely do not think video games cause violence. That is one of those things that I think. I thought you know what? I thought we settled that, right? We settled video games don't cause violence a long time ago. A long time ago we settled that, but whatever. Do you think it will hurt, help, or do nothing for Yang to go on H3 Wednesday?
Matthew Wong says we should dress like Mormons and knock on houses to spread the word of Yang.
Yeah, the good word.
You probably get treated better than I ever got treated. No,
Yeah, well, dude, I've never heard. Some people are but most people are very, very, very open to the word of Yang, man. He's a chill guy. Here we go. This is one thing. I don't know if we'll have time to go over all the candidates, but someone asked us if we can just go over some of the candidates that are also running aside from Yang as Democrats, right? Let me see if I can. Here
Dude,
we go.
we got some great questions here, though.
We have the real clear average. Let's just really quickly. Anything that jumps out. Joe Biden. What jumps out to you about Joe Biden? The leader. Anything, Carden? Jump out about Joe Biden?
Oh, sorry. I was watching my son slam the door. What jumps out of me, Joe Biden? Yeah, in relation to what?
Just seriously, what's your opinion on Joe Biden? I don't think we actually just sat and talked about stuff like that.
My opinion of Joe Biden is that he is now. I just see a man who is getting a taste of his own medicine. I mean, he has been the Pied Piper of the socialist left.
Has
constantly.
he?
Well, no, not pushing socialism, but he has entertained that. Like, you know, in movies, this is who he is. You know how in movies there's always the guy earlier on in the movie who betrays the group of heroes and joins the bad guy.
Oh, like Benny and the Mummy?
Yeah, and enables the bad guy.
Oof, I don't like him.
And tells the bad guy where the good guys are secretly hiding. And, you know he's got a good heart really, but he's his own, you know? To me, that's Joe Biden. Joe Biden has been willing to do the intellectually dishonest gymnastics. And I don't like all the attacks on him because I think to a certain extent he's a retail politician that doesn't deserve it. But you know what? I'm sorry, to a certain extent, I just say, you know what, Biden? This is what you get. This is what you get when you pander. You get a bunch of short-term political gains, but at the end, there's no longevity in it. Now, all these SJWs that you've bred and that you've watered and that you have taught how to be intellectually dishonest and politically powerful, guess what? They're turning on you. And you are just like Benny and the Mummy. You are now getting eaten alive because these SJWs that you bred are coming after you, bro. Why? Because you have cultivated a culture of identity politics. And at the end of the identity politics game, there is no room for white men. There is no room for white men, and you cannot escape your whiteness nor your manness. So unless you want to go transgender right now on national television as a reality star, you're stuck, you're screwed because the left cares nothing for you. You've been kicked out of the club that you built. Yeah. That's what I think of Joe Biden.
Really? I had no idea he was so pivotal to all these moves. I don't know.
Yeah, of course he was pivotal. He was the biggest shill for anything that the Obama administration did poorly.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's the bigger thing. I feel like he's a holdover from Obama.
I mean, how hard is it to say, look, Fast and Furious was a good idea that was poorly executed. We thought that if we could...
That was a good idea.
No, okay, I shouldn't say a good idea, but I'm just saying I doubt the person that thought it up and thought that tracking guns would help us figure out where the bad guys were. You know what? I like giving the benefit of the doubt to people, and I could see how maybe a misled patriot that didn't realize what he was doing might think that's a good idea. I look at myself in high school and the things that I honestly thought would be good ideas and would help my situation in life ended up being totally boneheaded. So I could see how a bunch of boneheaded bureaucrats using their uninformed groupthink could think up an idea like Fast and Furious. But please come at me with okay, yeah, we thought it would work, but it didn't, and we screwed up. We're going to move on to the next thing. I have so much more respect for that than the shilling of, if you don't like the Fast and Furious idea, it's because Barack Obama has a different skin color than you, and that's why you don't like it. It bothers me. It just really bothers me. And it bothers me his first campaign announcement. Instead of saying, hey, I'm super qualified. I was the vice president. I have more relationships and more understanding of the inner workings of the worldwide political stage and the domestic political stage. You should vote for me. Instead of having that powerful message, what did he do? He did an anti-Trump message that purposely twists Trump's
Hey, sorry about that, guys. Can you hear us? Is it up again?
Jeez.
Is it? Yeah. Okay, I think we're back up, right? Yeah, we're working. Okay, sorry about that, guys.
What on earth was that?
Sorry about that, guys. I don't know. My computer froze up. So, again, reason why we're doing these streams right now is to make sure we can get all this stuff worked out, guys.
Because you're using a PC.
Don't have to worry about it. Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry. We're here. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we're back. I just don't have the preview here on my tab, so I'm going to preview it here. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, there we go. Speaking of, there we go. Anyway, yeah, there we go. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure what happened. My computer just kind of froze up for a minute there. I tried to close any of my really high bandwidth thingy jigs, so hopefully it's not again. But yeah, like exactly. I try telling this guy all the time. The only reason why Mac users like think PCs are better is because it makes Macs are better because they don't use them. So,
That's funny.
honestly, man, you're probably right. Oh no, hold up. I'm on Firefox right now actually because you're right, and you're right, and it does. Chrome is terrible. I am running on Firefox right now. I'm not sure what it was exactly. It was something, but I don't know. Could be this Bloomberg article for all I know. Either way, still, I guess it's
Dude, I love it. Matthew Wong said MSNBC was censoring you.
exactly. They found out. Like, no, you can't. Don't say things like that.
Kyoko703 says PC Master RACE. Wow,
Yeah.
I take it he's a PC fan.
Yeah, Master Race, of course. Yeah, PC is definitely the way. Yeah, Firefox, dude. I actually like using Brave a lot. Actually, funny story. One of the reasons why it's taken us so long to get the monetization feature turned on is because they wouldn't tell me that I couldn't progress with my ad block through Brave. They just told me that there was a problem with the website and that they're working on it. And finally, I found out it was actually the Brave ad block. So there we go, guys. Funny story.
Okay. So anyway, what were we
If
talking
you're not
about?
using exactly, I haven't gone all the way yet. I'm not exactly using Linux yet. There we go. I think we're just talking.
Danny V. Bosch.
You had a
or
lot
Vbach
to say about Joe Biden. That's what we're talking about.
Says gamers are the most oppressed minority. Them and forklift drivers.
Hey, gamers and forklift drivers, man. There's only so many of us, right? I'm not.
I
hold
guess
on.
both require
Hold on.
really fast use of joysticks.
Yeah. In full disclosure, I'm not a forklift driver, so.
Okay. So anyway, let me see here.
Yeah, like I said, it was funny. Brave, like they block everything, man.
Maybe you should Bing the problem.
Oh, what polls the DNC use? Let's see if I can pull that article up again for you guys. And we'll kind of go through it again exactly. What they do. 1 second. I believe they just call it September debate rules. And we'll show you exactly what a debate has to do. That way, when you're looking at them, you can kind of see and you can kind of go through yourself. Is this going to be a qualifying poll or not? And I'll show you guys exactly what their rules are. Yeah, there.
And they're rules that are generic enough and have enough gray area in them. Technically, it's called a rubber clause in politics. They've got such a rubber clause that is so bendable that they can pretty much just DQ or disqualify anybody they don't like.
Yeah, well,
You
I
know?
mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's pretty. As long as there isn't a lot of kooky partner polls like there was with NBC, where they had multiple partner polls. Aside from that, it's pretty much where it is. The only other thing I would say that's a little bit open is they reserve the right to add a Nevada-specific poll. I could be wrong. I don't know if there's actually a firm answer right now, and if they have or not. I think they still reserve the right. I don't know if they have or have not added a Nevada poll. I could be wrong, but I don't know that. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, so Julian Toker is a fan of Alyssa Monet Mason's videos. That's cool.
That's cool. Very good stuff.
Yeah, I'll have to check out some more of those. Monka Raw's back. This is pretty interesting. Michael B asks, do you work for Andrew Yang's campaign? Psh, no, I wish.
Yeah.
We'd be making a lot more money, that's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends, right? There's certain people tend to make a lot of money in politics, and certain people tend not make a lot. But no, we definitely don't work for anyone officially in any capacity.
Yeah, no, and it's actually kind of funny. We talked about this on the last live stream, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. However, it is a happy accident. Who was Bob? It was Bob Ross, right? The guy that would always paint all of the trees. And he said there's
Bob
no
Ross.
mistakes. There's only happy accidents, right? So it was very much a happy accident that we got involved in following Andrew Yang. We are both politically involved, and we both love podcasting, live streaming. And Cody was actually the board operator of our terrestrial program at FM 98.1 in Los Angeles. And we had kind of teamed up saying, hey, we should do our own show. And what are we going to talk about? And at that point, well, on the Republican side, there's only one option, Donald Trump. And everybody's already talking about Donald Trump. We would be the 1 millionth and first voice in that cacophony of sound. So what can you talk about on the Democrat side that's going on? Well, there's a bunch of SJW nonsense, identity politics and finger pointing and race baiting and all that other stuff. But wait a second. Here's this interesting character who says UBI. Oh, wait, and a bunch of smart people are for UBI, like Elon Musk, and Peter Thiel, to a certain extent, has expressed a lot of interest and power behind this, and a very bipartisan idea that actually was passed in the Nixon administration. Like, what? And in our studies of Andrew Yang, one of our first videos was actually who is Andrew Yang, because back then he was basically a Twitter and podcast phenomenon. I think when you Googled him, you only had actually 2 live interviews. I remember when the Root interview came out, and that was one of the only long-form interviews you had besides The Breakfast Club, where you could see anything about him. And there was a lot of stuff that I really, really liked, and I was thinking, how is this guy a Democrat? There was a lot of other stuff that I really disliked, and I didn't understand why a guy that smart would say it. But in that exploration, we basically realized that Andrew Yang is a fire hose. You can only drink so much from it, and he's proposed all of these ideas. Let's jump on and let's analyze each one of these ideas and actually see if they're good, because he actually has ideas. He has substance. We could talk about substance. We could talk about something other than his Asianness, and how he'd be the first presidential Asian candidate, and technically not the first, but anyway. So that's how we got involved talking Yang, but we don't actually get any kind of formal endorsement or any kind of money from Andrew Yang's campaign, though we have both met him. And we actually have a cool bit of hidden video that we haven't disclosed yet to the Yang gang.
Secret video.
Of that small conversation that I had before we started recording. Do you remember? You know how you said we're sitting on those 30 seconds?
I think we have audio. I don't know if we have video, to be frank. I think we have audio for sure, though.
Yeah. Anyway, I love how this guy says I'm UBI curious. That's awesome. Morgan says I'm getting quieter and quieter. I will do my best to not get quieter and quieter. And glad to see Alyssa likes Bob Ross. Bob Ross. I watched the most interesting documentary on Bob Ross the other day. Apparently, he hated getting haircuts and he didn't have a lot of money, so he went and he got a perm done once. And that was when he did his first couple of videos. And they had made the logo based off of his Bob Ross perm, but he always hated his perm. And so he wanted to get rid of it. But then the producer's like, no, you can't. It's the freaking logo now. This is part of your identity. So he had 20 years of a perm that he hated. I mean, could you imagine having a haircut you didn't like for 20 years?
Did he make money? Was it profitable for him at the end?
Oh, Bob Ross. Okay, Bob Ross didn't make money off of any of the painting shows. He basically volunteered his time for that, but he made a ton of cash off the product. He would sell Bob Ross paint, Bob Ross canvases, Bob Ross pages. He was pimping the merchandise, and that's how he made his. Yeah, and dude, where are all the Bob Ross paintings? None of them were ever actually sold at auction.
Oh, cool. Where were they then? Or where are they?
People tracked him down, and Bob Ross Inc. actually still owns every single one.
Oh, no way. It's really cool. I didn't know that.
And there's only one woman who can authenticate him. The first woman that believed in Bob Ross and said, hey, you should come on this TV show to replace the previous host was a woman with a kind of Polish-sounding last name. And he would print 3 versions. He would paint 3 versions of every painting. The first one was the inspiration painting, okay? Then the second one was the one that he would do of the inspiration painting live on the TV show. And then the third one was one that would go to this woman. And he'd always give the best one to the woman. The second best one was on the TV show. And then the first one was just the inspiration one. But she has a copy of every single Bob Ross painting out there from 20 plus years of the joy of painting. Think how much one of those is worth.
But that's the thing I wonder is realistically
people would I bet you there's a wealthy person out there that drop a bill.
No, I agree. I agree with you, but I just kind of wonder what is the market, right? We haven't seen that market, but it's probably huge. I wonder how much any of you guys pay for a Bob Ross painting?
Dude, Steve Ober says
Thomas Kincaid's work. Okay, better. Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
Dude, Steve Ober says Bob Ross's last live stream I posted, Bob would have been Yang Gang. Oh, dude.
He would have, dude. He would have.
We should start trying to do a deep fake of Bob Ross.
Do they still do those on the Twitch streams of Bob Ross?
Dude, I don't know.
I remember what, maybe 4 years ago, the Bob Ross Twitch streams kind of brought Bob. Wow, try saying that fast. Brought Bob Ross back with the Twitch streams where they went on like 24 hours for days and days of just Bob Ross stuff. So that's really funny.
Okay, so here's a good question right here. What are Yang's weaknesses? National security. I don't see how, as the field shrinks, that anyone could hang with him in the debates. As long as he keeps it domestic, absolutely.
Yeah.
As long as he keeps it domestic and
Who's
economic.
better though on national? Who's actually better than him on national security?
Well, come on. The big silverback gorilla in the room is going to be Tulsi Gabbard. Military experience.
but
Name another one.
If Yang moves,
she'll just like.
No, but if Yang moves further in the debates, Tulsi's not going to be there. She's polling behind him. I don't think they're both going to make it. So, assuming Tulsi's not there, and it's him
Well, you
versus
asked
the
who's
top
stronger
four.
than him. You didn't ask who's going to poll into the next debates. You said who's stronger.
Who's stronger than
And then
him?
also Joe
No.
Biden. Joe Biden was sitting in the room when Osama bin Laden was killed.
Joe Biden is definitely has a lot of experience in dropping bombs on countries we're not at war with. He definitely knows a lot about
Yeah, but he
using
also knows
drones
all
to
the
kill innocent people that have nothing to do with anything we're doing. That's definitely one of the strong points of Joe Biden. I would say he's weak on it because he has a record of being in the Obama administration, which, you know what I mean, kind of like killed a lot of people in the Middle East that we were not like actually officially supposed to be killing all the time. So like, I don't think that's a very good record.
Andrew Graham says, so were
Willie
the
Judge
two
is a vet, correct?
Yeah, so were the two NBC polls done in the same geographical area? Is that why the second NBC poll was disqualified? Well,
no, there was one NBC poll done with one organization and one NBC poll done with another. Now, instead of those being
that's really
counted,
stupid. It's like J.J. Abrams does collaborations with all kinds of people. Like there was the movie, the working
J.J.
title.
Abrams.
Yeah, the working title was The Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. I think it ended up being, The Boy Scout's Guide to the Zombie
No,
Apocalypse.
that came out.
okay?
That's a movie that came out.
Yeah, that's a movie that came out. People don't realize this, but all these special effects were done by who's the big director of Transformers? Come on, first use Megan Fox. Always has things blowing up in all of his
Michael
movies.
Bay, but
Michael
he's
Bay.
a director, not a special effects guy.
No, yeah, his special effects company, 5150, did all of the special effects there. I met him. He was on set.
Oh, cool.
And so what happens is...
Shout out Michael Bay.
Yeah, is that a Michael Bay film? No, it's not a Michael Bay film.
But
It was
that's-
directed by
okay,
somebody
no,
else.
but that's
Yeah,
way
but you
different.
could use
That's
the exact
way,
same
no, you can't. It's way
backwards
different.
logic and say, oh, well, if it was a Michael Bay and a Paramount collaboration...
Well, who called who? Who said, hey, come work on my movie?
I'll tell you right now.
That's what I mean.
It seems weak that they disqualified the poll.
No,
it seems
the
weak.
communication was poor. They should have let people know ahead of time so he didn't announce and then was informed actually he didn't have it. I agree with that. But, dude, if NBC does a poll with one
Do you
company...
just disagree with me just to get your heart rate up?
No, because I disagree. I straight up just don't agree. I think that's true. I think NBC did a poll with one company, a poll with another. DNC said those are still NBC polls. We don't care. I don't care who they do it with. That's an NBC poll. Now,
J.J. Abrams is the only guy who can do Star Wars and Star Trek. Okay.
only who has. I don't know can, but he's the only one who has done both. I couldn't be wrong there. But as far as feature films, I believe he's the only person. Unless what Lawrence Kasdan, he did one of the Star Trek movies. So, but I don't know. I'm not.
Benjamin Jiang, will you guys get Yang to come on the show? Yes, I have
Hey, we'd love
emailed him
to.
twice.
Yeah.
Actually, to be honest with you, I think you guys could help us out. We've emailed him a couple times. I have not emailed the woman that said that she deals with the publicist on the daily, and I should get back to her because she did want to see our podcast.
There we go, man.
And that might be an in
There we go.
because the standard, we usually try and be respectful and use the standard avenues that press and the media use first because we understand campaigns sometimes have limited staff and you don't want to stress somebody out by calling their cell phone instead of calling the office. But we might have to start calling the cell phone because we do have some questions from Andrew Yang that we'd really like answered. And we've emailed a couple of times the campaign.
Oh, I
so
didn't think about that. That's a good point.
yeah, we did speak with him at the Los Angeles rally, and we're able to get in there.
Very briefly, yes.
Yeah, with press passes and have a brief conversation with the campaign manager. So I'm sure post debates, he's probably a little bit overwhelmed, but we are definitely working on getting him on the show.
Yeah, we're gonna keep reaching out eventually. Hey, guys, help us keep growing. Share our videos, share the streams, keep sharing, keep helping us grow that way.
We should
That's
have
the
like a
easiest way.
subscribe to PewDiePie movement, but just like appear on PSP movement, where just everybody emails him say, "Yo, you got to be on PSP." Tweet at him, PSP.
I'd love to get that going, but PewDiePie, man, he's got the biggest audience in the world. So
Hit that line, Carden.
The only-
says Dan Murphy.
the only person,
Hit that line. What are you saying, Dan? What are you saying, my man?
Yeah, I can't pan the camera down from here, so you guys will have to just take our word for it. Are there any news? I've heard anything else about the Noam Chomsky thing? I haven't. I think they had both expressed interest. I believe was last we heard.
Yeah, Nerds for Yang had to raise 10K to get Yang. I'd feel a little bit like a shill if I did that.
Well, hold up, PogChamp. We got to get a hold of his AI double. If we can get if anyone has the text of the phone number for Andrew Yang's AI double or his hologram double, if you can pass that on, that'd be great. We'll reach out that way.
Goodness gracious, I am loving this.
Dude, Dead and Divine, PewDiePie could literally murder someone. Doesn't matter. He's got the audience. Like, people don't leave when you got that. When you get to the millions, dude, like, he could stream himself, like, killing somebody, and people would still be like, yeah, but it's PewDiePie. I like his videos. He's got a good message, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of at that point. H3. Honestly, dude, Carden, so how much do you know about Ethan Klein and the H3 podcast?
I know they're the ones that figured out that Bernie Sanders was playing the Russian national anthem.
Well, they didn't figure it out. They just played it on the stream.
They played on the stream. That was epic. Forever they go down in my book as good podcasters just for that stunt. But other than that, actually, he was one of the first people to recognize us at the Los Angeles rally.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And come up
and
and recognize us.
Yeah, I remember that. I still talk on Twitter and stuff occasionally with him. He's a cool guy.
Okay. So anyway, what do we say we're going to talk about in the pre-show? There were some really interesting things that had happened over the past 24 hours. You had that sick music video.
That was fun. Well, hold on. No, because I just want to talk about this because it's tomorrow.
Okay.
Coming up. So what do you think? Okay, so this is something someone brought up. If you guys know anything more about the story, that'd be really interesting. Yeah, no. Sorry about that, guys. The stream should be back now. I believe the stream is back, but it was dropping there for a minute.
Time to switch from the CompuServer servers? Are they calling us a bunch of boomers?
I no idea. It's a problem with the computer I'm using right now. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what's going on with that, guys. It's something physically with the machine where it's locking up on me and I'm losing everything. So, is what it is. I'm just gonna move on. Definitely something we're taking a look at moving forward. Anyway, though, here's what I want to talk about was that Andrew Yang potentially, or it's looking like probably, is blowing off an event in Iowa that he had previously committed to in order to appear on the H3H3 podcast on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. So the interesting thing is, obviously, we talked about this the other night, H3H3, massive audience on H3H3.
Yeah, they're in the millions,
audience.
Right?
Oh, wait, one of the biggest audiences on the platform.
Yeah.
But realistically, is that going to help him win Iowa more so than going to Iowa? So I think that's really interesting.
You know, I really wonder, what is the rubric for making those decisions? Obviously, you're going to have to think in self-interest. And also, I mean, I would feel compelled. The first person that I had said yes to, I would feel compelled to go there because I'm kind of duty-driven like that. However, at the same time, if I said yes to both people simultaneously and I got to choose one, you'd want to think, okay, what's going to benefit my campaign more? And if you got millions of followers, there's got to be a lot of them that are in Iowa, just by the sheer statistics of everything.
How many people in I wonder, I actually wonder what's their numbers. But what is the H3H3 podcast penetration in Iowa?
And this is a big question I have for the Yang Gang. Is the Yang Gang's generally younger? Okay, the Yang Gang's definitely more of the internet generation.
H3H3 is not going to do anything but exasperate that.
Yeah, well, but what's so interesting is I was talking with a candidate for city council, and we got a pretty big city now. I mean, we're sporting about 500,000 people where we are. It's not massive. It's not Los Angeles, but it's a pretty formidable position. It's difficult. It's a 6-figure race. You got to raise 6 figures in dollars if you're going to win a city council seat in our city. And what's interesting is I was talking with one of the candidates about what a strategy is. And he said, you know what? I still hit the senior center and the old people big time because he's like, they vote. They vote, and our election is going to be in a midterm election year. And he said, as much as you want to hit the millennials and do the hip, cool video content and be doing all of the fun podcasts and stuff like that, he says young people just do not vote, especially millennials. And we saw that even though Bernie Sanders and everybody talked about how they were feeling the burn, in some of those states, his performance was abysmal at the polls. And you kind of wonder, is that because you had a bunch of young people who were talking the talk but not walking the walk to the voting booth? Because the impact he was having online and the perceived impact he was having socially ended up being a lot larger than the final impact he showed having at the polls. So I'm curious if the Yang Gang is going to be disproportionately low in terms of voter turnout or disproportionately high compared to what their activity is on the chat rooms, the forums, the online polls, the podcasts, so on and so forth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It's one of those things I don't think we'll find out the answer to until after it's all said and done.
Yoko 703 says, I want to see Andrew Yang on Blaze TV.
Has he not been on there yet? I
think they give him a fairer shot than some of these Occupy Democrats and other outlets, because there's a lot of leftist hate on Andrew Yang right now.
Okay, but
because of the $15 minimum wage versus the UBI thing. I mean, this has become like a straight up war. You'd think, like, if I were a Democrat, I'd be sitting there thinking, okay, well, both are improvements that fit within the realm of our platform. Like, both are great. Okay. Now, I actually know the science behind minimum wage and how it would be wildly detrimental to our economy and would kill more jobs than it creates. So I'm not for UBI. But you'd think from a Democrat perspective that you'd be like welcoming both. But they're not. I mean, the amount of shade that's getting thrown at Andrew Yang by people that don't really know him or know what the UBI is, the freedom dividend is, are giving him some serious crap. So I think Blaze TV, they'd probably give him the same fair shake that
like most people gave him,
that like Tucker Carlson gave him.
But even like not just right leaning, like, like probably CNN, same thing you got from them. The Anderson Cooper interview wasn't a setup. It's a pretty fair interview, right? I think you get about that same privilege or that same respect. That's what I think.
Okay. Blaze TV recently did an automation video that played favorably to Andrew Yang. Yes, that's true. Glenn Beck actually showed the Zuckerberg deep fake.
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, that was one of the first deep fakes. And I remember Glenn Beck came out and he said, look, now this is not very convincing, but he says the fact that I can see how it soon could become so convincing I couldn't tell the difference kind of scares me.
It's only going to get a little better. It's only got to get a little bit better, realistically. No, that is true, man. That is weird stuff.
UBUU7 says, right-leaning people are less hostile to Yang as a person, but more hostile to UBI than liberals because more of them are anti-redistribution to the core. Yeah. I think there's some truth in that statement. We noticed that when we had Cameron Smythe, the Republican representative, on there. His first inclination was to think that this is a Democrat candidate just trying to push further to the left, not completely realizing that it's actually more of a push towards the center or to the right. And as Andrew Yang says, it's capitalism that starts at 1,000 instead of capitalism that starts at 0. So I think that was a very astute observation. UBUU7. But yeah, I definitely agree with you that right-leaning people are less hostile to Yang as a person because just like Jonathan Haidt data shows, they operate out of all 5 emotional principles and not just 2. And I've actually noticed that my entire life. I generally have felt that right-leaning people are generally more open to others as in general, especially when it comes to approaching political conversation.
I would say it's definitely true that people on the right love disagreeing a lot. Like there's a divide. People on the left,
we don't love disagreeing a lot.
Yeah, but no, it's like people on the left. Well, there's more of like a I don't even. That's the wrong way of putting it. But there's kind of like the two just different ways of looking at disagreement. I guess you can look at political disagreement as, oh, this is cool. This is fun. Let's kind of work through this. Let's see, what do we disagree? What do we agree on? What do we disagree on? What's our differences? Or the opposite of, that's not right. You shouldn't think that. And I think generally speaking, people who tend to lean to the right are more along the lines of, oh, we disagree. Awesome. Let's find out how we disagree. Not to say everyone is like that. And there's people on the right who are like, we disagree. You shouldn't be allowed to think that. But I'm just saying that tends to be the breakdown. That's more a bigger breakdown. So I think that's where you see where people love bringing Yang on because they're like, oh, cool, we're bringing some Democrat on who wants to give everyone $1,000 a month. Like, oh, I can't wait to make us look like an idiot. And they talk to him and go, oh, actually, he's not an idiot. I've actually heard an interview. Tucker Carlson, that's what he said. Tucker Carlson, I think he was talking about a vegan, actually, an interview with Norm Macdonald. Not Norm Macdonald, with the other comedian who's just like Norm Macdonald, Adam Carolla, sorry. And Adam Carolla, and anyway, Tucker Carlson, we brought some, vegan guy on. I was going to make fun of him or whatever. Then we talked for a few minutes, and I'm like, oh, like, actually, he believes in what he believes, so whatever. And I think that's kind of more the treatment he gets. So they bring him on, like, okay, we're going to make fun of this Democrat guy, gives everyone $1,000 a month. They bring him on, And then like, oh, actually, this idea isn't that crazy. It's not. I mean, Ben Shapiro roots for him all the time. Who I believe it's one of the few times you'll see Ben Shapiro and the Krasenstein brothers agree on anything is when it comes to Andrew Yang. There seems to be an agreement that we need to hear more from him. He has great ideas. I think that's someone recently tweeted Daniel Negreanu, famous poker player, came out as an Andrew Yang supporter, and someone said like Martin Luther King, Andrew Yang, and Daniel Negreanu, like great minds think alike. We got to do this UBI thing. I thought it was really funny, but yeah, that's how it goes.
That's interesting. Shannon Bird brings up a good point. People on the left overthink things so much and have to have it 100% their way and end up ruining a lot of things trying for perfection, not reality. I definitely see that a lot on the left. I think that's kind of a bipartisan problem too, though.
Jeez.
Like, I mean, to a certain extent, like I see Republicans doing that as well. And I think that's probably the birth of the phrase that you should never let perfection be the enemy of the good. And one of my friends who was a contractor always had a phrase. He said, it's the death of good construction is trying to make it perfect. And so I could see that. I could see that being true. Somebody else brought up a really good question here. And he said, could anybody stop Trump if he adopted UBI? I don't know.
I don't think UBI is quite the silver bullet for elections yet. I don't think it's like that strong.
Yeah, because nobody's done it yet.
No, that's a good point as well.
Nobody's done it. Like, you can't say make America great again if there wasn't a before that you want to go back to. If there wasn't a successful past you didn't want to go back to, the slogan to make something great again would have zero emotional pull.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying.
So since there's never been a past that's been successful with UBI, there's no way you can say, hey, let's make it work again. It is a forward-thinking thing.
I think if he could lose without adopting UBI, he can lose with adopting UBI. I think if Donald Trump is vulnerable in this election, he's vulnerable, right? Like, he's vulnerable either way, whether he's adopted UBI or not. Even if, because here's the thing, if Donald Trump adopted UBI, there would be a bigger way to, turn a lot of Trump supporters on him from, cause the thing is, like, there is, as much as I don't agree that every Trump supporter is like one thing, I definitely agree that if you were to poll Trump supporters and non-Trump supporters, would probably be higher UBI support for non-Trump supporters than Trump supporters in like a 1 or 2 sentence pitch. If it's fleshed out all the way and it's explained for what it is, I think it'll probably get closer to the middle. But still, man, it's like 50-50, right? And I think there is a thing where people that are on more conservative end, if they view it, because really it depends how you view it. If you view it as a means for capitalism, because, for example, you think about it, UBI doesn't mean anything in a socialist country because it's like you wouldn't have the ability to do what the UBI is kind of meant to do, which is allow you to pull your resources together and do things with it. You know what I mean? Like, that wouldn't exist. It could really only exist in a capitalist economy. The notion of here's some money every month, so if you want, you can put it away and do something with. So I think that's why you're always going to see generally conservatives be more for it. But I don't know. I think particularly, I don't think it would bump Trump's base. If they love him now, they'll love him with or without. I guess is more my point.
So Jacob Hoffner says Trump would win so hardcore. I actually agree with him. I think he'd kill it if he adopted the UBI. The question would be, could he get all of the old, stodgy 1960s boomers to wrap their heads around it?
Exactly, man.
I don't actually see Trump being the problem. Honestly, I think Trump's mind is so much more pliable than half of the pundits and the congressmen around him. Despite his age, I see him so much more willing to adopt bipartisan measures. I mean, people call him racist while he's meeting with minority celebrities to get black people out of jail that were sentenced by people like Kamala Harris for stupid nonviolent crimes.
That sounds ridiculous. Like, what do you mean black people don't like him? He met with Kanye West and got a person out of jail for crime.
Kim Kardashian, hold on.
No,
You can't poo-poo this. Kim Kardashian goes to the White House and says, hey, look, here's this woman that was convicted for a nonviolent drug crime, and she's been rotting in prison, and you got to pardon her because the legal system isn't helping her out.
That was good, yeah.
And so he straight up pardons her.
So
I mean, you didn't see Obama had a chance to pardon her, didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see any letters written by the Black Congressional Caucus doing it because all these rich congressmen just sit there in the White House not giving a crap about who they've jailed because, not their problem. Their paychecks get made. Never mind, this guy that was jailed for a nonviolent crime is watching his family starve because the breadwinner's behind bars for no real good reason.
I'm just saying, what does that have to do with race? That's good. He did a good thing for people.
What do you mean, what's that have to do with race? We all know that the crime bill Bill Clinton signed disproportionately affected the black community for drug crimes. It should have been perceived.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, but the waves of the Clinton administration, people jailed in the 90s on 20-year sentences, guess what? If you're jailed in 1999,
That's a good point.
you're
Right?
still serving that 20-year sentence 20 years later. So that's what it has to do with Bill Clinton. If he's the one that put you behind bars for no good reason, you're still rotting there for 20 years.
That's
And
a
if
good
Trump
point.
gets you out, I don't care what you think about Trump. You know what I'm saying? He
good,
just
yeah.
got you out of prison. So anyway, going back down here, it says I can't see Trump supporting UBI. I could see Trump supporting UBI, but not necessarily the old stodgy congressman. Joe Rogan supports
Good point.
Tulsi.
Yeah, he didn't pardon anyone. He just simply helped her jail sentence be short. Like I said, I don't think it's that simple. I don't think it works that way. It reminds me of the episode of if any of you guys have seen it, the classic South Park episode. One of the guys,
There's a lot of classics, dog.
one of the guy's parents says something offensive, and he's like, "Well, I apologize to Jesse Jackson." And he's like, "He's not the president. He's not the king of black people. You just apologize to him. Like it's one person." Like I think the same thing. Like cool, Kanye West and his wife went to the White House, and they got someone freed. Like okay, and that's good. Yes, I'm glad to see someone's prison sentence reduced, especially if it's unjust. But I don't view that as like a big racial move. It just seems to me more as like a smart thing to do. Yeah, like high profile person, high profile case. It's just clearly an easy win for me to let this person. I want to do it. I don't know. I just don't see that.
Okay, so Dan Murphy, I like this guy. Makes some good comments. UBI is the American Tower of Babel, and we love it. Oh, that is funny. That's a great biblical analogy, my man. I'm still working it out in my head. I don't know exactly how it works, but I appreciate the reference. Also, the Indian hitman. That is awesome. Please tell me he's really Indian. I don't know if that means American Indian or if it means Asian Indian, but either way, it's super cool. The Indian hitman asks, do you guys ever take snack breaks while streaming? Why don't we order a pizza from the robotic Little Caesars nearby just to prove how much AI has affected our society on our next live stream? The only problem is I do confess I'm trying to lose weight, cutting out the carbs. So that might be a temptation that I may not be able to to avoid.
Everyone can have pizza. There's nothing, actually, you think about it, pizza, it's on a lot of the food. Pizza's good.
So anyway, Torok01 says people are so invested in Bernie and his $15 per hour. They have been pushing him for 6 years. Hard to let go. That's true. There's actually a super PAC here in California that said it's called California for 25, and they're pushing for a $25 an hour minimum wage.
Hey, cool, I'll take it.
And yeah, but
Give me, man, $25.
Yeah, but everybody would stop hiring you because they couldn't afford you.
I know. Honestly, I'm on a limb here, but like, and I see the argument against it, so I understand people what they would say. However,
dude, who here?
I'll tell you what, guys. Hold up, really quickly. If you
before you hold up, I'm going to say is everybody in this stream right here, before we all start opining on minimum wage, just like Andrew Yang said, raise your hand if you've seen a retail store that's been closed in your area. I want everybody to respond right now in our live chat. If you're a business owner that has to pay an hourly wage to any of your employees. And until you're a business owner that has to pay an hourly wage and you understand what that does to your payroll, what that does to your workers' comp, what that does to your state fund, what it does to all these other things associated to pay, and how not worth it half of these employees are, and how you have to start making questions of whether or not you should hire and fire somebody, until you're in the shoes of somebody that's trying to make a small business work, and 85% of America is employed by small business. So I want to know how many people of our fans actually have had to pay minimum wage so they know what it's like to have that, not gavel, but that guillotine hanging over your head.
Well, I was just going to say that actually, and I understand the argument against this. However, I would be for some kind of extraordinarily low minimum wage because I think there's a lot of jobs that I think, I don't know, man. It's tough because I don't want to see people running around doing 8 jobs a day either. But also, it opens people up to pick up a job a couple hours a day that pays like $5 an hour for 2 hours. You just get $10 for 2 hours doing something you do anyway. That helps businesses while giving people other opportunities where it's not like the business has to pay you this. And then I do think there should be some just other protections. Obviously, like here's the thing that I always think is kind of interesting when people talk about policy, right? Is that like I wouldn't like to see the minimum wage lowered if it means you either work at $5 an hour or you don't work. I would like to see it lowered if it means it creates another kind of bracket of jobs, kind of recreates that jobs for students or part-time people just looking for a couple hours a day, not a bunch of money, but I'm just trying to save up on the side, right? And then protections that allow for people that are working longer hours and more thing, and then you could have lost. And then look, only a certain percentage of your workforce could be in this bracket. I would be okay for that, but like it's tough, man. Like I said, always possible to amend and fix things and fine tune things and get things to where they need. That's always way easier than it is to try to come up with the absolute perfect policy that's untouchable. You have to see what the problems are. I'm a big fan of this. You kind of roll it out there, see what's wrong, and fix it, as opposed to trying to make it foolproof. Because you're not going to make it foolproof. You're going to mess up. You're going to do something wrong. Inevitably. Something you didn't know was going to happen is going to happen. So that's why I think about it. Like, you could do stuff like lower the minimum wage instead of raising it, and then experiment with other ways of incentivizing paying people closer to what the old minimum wage was.
Well, the natural incentives are going to be far stronger than any artificial incentives. It's just like natural sweeteners. The soda with natural sugar tastes better than the soda with high fructose processed corn syrup. So natural incentives are this. During the summer, I used to hire 5 extra dudes because in the nature of my business, summertime, the business booms. It's like river rafting. You know, not a lot of people go river rafting down the Kern River during the winter, but they do during the summer. So you're going to hire, an extra 10 seasonal employees, maybe extra 20. But what happens is they're useless for the first couple of weeks because you have to be showing them what you do and you can't trust them with the oars yet. And it's not until the second or third week that they even have passed their CPR certification. It takes the government a week to get it mailed to them. So really, the first month, they're kind of useless and they're actually costing you money because they're dead weight in the raft that maybe a paying customer could take up. But you need to train your employees, okay? So once they actually get trained, get their licensure, and you can actually send them out in the raft and trust them not to kill your company with a lawsuit, but to actually go make you money. Well, now all of a sudden you have an employee that's making you money. You have to take that hit for a month in hopes that in the other 2 months that he works for you during the summer, it's going to be profitable. And the only problem is that I would much rather have there be a $5 minimum wage so tons of people could get entry-level jobs and then pay them $20 an hour, $25 an hour, $30 an hour once they get their certifications and they get their skill set, so they're, quote, skilled labor, then have all these artificial minimum wages, making it so that by the time I'm done training them, I feel like I should just keep them at minimum wage for another 2 months so I can recoup some of my money back. It's a lot more exciting to have natural incentives built in, and I think it actually would encourage a labor force. Kids would start working much younger. How many parents of teenagers would love to have their kids, if they're, go work at the arcade after school for a couple of hours instead of having to put them in daycare? Yeah, there's not an arcade anymore. But anyway, there was an interesting question here.
Hold on one second. Quickly, I want to show you guys something. Someone just sent this to me on Twitter. I cropped the image a bit. However, look at this. I thought this was funny. This was cute. Sorry. Somebody wrote yang2020.com and a tip amount, and they tipped $20.20 in Google engineering. I thought that was a lot of fun. Here, 1 second. I'll pull over and see exactly who.
Yang2020.
Who was the shout out on that? I just wanted to crop out the top bit. That's some info. I thought that was really funny. That is Gorilla. That was so Matthew and Mr. Matty Chappie on.
You gotta save that one for our next meme war update. The memes this week have been phenomenal.
Shout outs to Matthew.
Maybe we should start doing a live stream of just the meme war.
We could make that a stream thing. Actually, it's not a bad idea. We were talking again. I was talking about coming up with a more scheduled stream, so you guys knew when to look for us. That could be a good idea.
So 2 to max 11. I got a question for you. It said only topic I agree with Cardin on. It's Cardin, Cardon, but that's fine.
Everyone
yeah, Carson, Cardin, Gordon, Cardigan. I get it all. If it starts with a C and has 2 syllables after it, I'll probably respond. Carmen, Gordon, Craig. I get it all.
Speaking of, Vince Carter announced his last season in the NBA.
Yeah.
Farewell, Vince.
We'll miss him. Anyway, only topic I agree with Cardin on. Which one? I think he's talking about $15 minimum wage.
Would have to be.
And there's got to be more than that, 2 to max 11. We agree on more. We agree on more than just one thing. You're not here just to look at Cody's ugly mug. Actually,
Ouch.
Beautiful mug.
Yeah,
beautiful mug.
I appreciate it.
Okay, I wish I could get a wage for my skill set, number 3 at my store in Best Buy that performs nationally, and I make less than the new hirers do.
Yeah, you know what? That is true. The wage bracket that needs to be increased more than anything. And the thing is, like, the reason why I don't like this whole fight for 15 nonsense in some way. Sorry, I don't mean nonsense. But what I mean is, I would much rather we were talking about how do we get more people lifted above making minimum wage into a more middle class bracket. That's the bigger question. Not just make the lowest wage is what it is. However high you want the lowest wage to be, it's where it is. I'd say let's find a way to make a system where there's less people relying on the lowest wage and more people, like I said, students, part-time, people that are like, hey, I can pick up a job on the side. let them work at that minimum wage, then have like an actual legit middle class bracket people can support a family on.
Yeah.
I think that's been eroded. Minimum wage protections haven't been eroded over the years. That's not what happened.
The cost of living has gone higher so much that the minimum wage is
the middle
useless.
class eroded. Yeah, not the people making minimum wage. That was the problem.
One of the few sound bites that I completely wholeheartedly agreed with
John
Barack
Delaney,
Obama
he
on.
would.
One of the few sound bites that I completely agreed with Barack Obama on was no man should be working a full-time job and not be able to support a family. I think it's possible a young kid should work if they have a 40-hour-a-week job that's just a passion project and they can't support a family. That's fine, because who knows, maybe that's how they're keeping out of the street and not being in trouble and so on and so forth. But generally, I think there really needs to be a way that our society can figure out a way for fathers that are working full time, because man is not meant to pay bills and die. Okay, I quote Olivia on this one, my friend Olivia, that man is not meant to pay bills and die. She said that
first.
She posted this really great meme that's always she's a huge Bernie fan. Argue all the time on Facebook, but her heart is pure and in a good place. And she did post a meme once that said, it was this beautiful little cabin out in the middle of the woods, and it said, man is not meant to pay bills and die. And that always has stuck with me. Anyway, Shakia Johnson, I want to go back to this. She's the one that said, I wish I would get a wage for my skill set. Number 3 at my store in Best Buy that performs nationally, and I make less than the new hirer. See, this is also why I'm a huge fan of the Freedom Dividend, and I'm a huge fan of, honestly, a lot of the things that Donald Trump is doing economically, a lot of things that a lot of these Republican states are pushing, and a lot of the reason why I go against the minimum wage, because we need to incentivize small business. The big problem with government intervention and artificial bumps in everything is, here's a perfect example. My family had a business in pest control, and there used to be lots of mom and pop fumigation companies, where you tent a house and you cover it for bed bugs or termites. And then California passed a bunch of draconian laws. One of them finally was a law that required a $250,000 machine in order to be able to ventilate one of these fumigations. And every single fumigation you were running had to have this machine on it for ventilation, which meant if you were a mom and pop shop that had 2 or 3 trucks with 2 or 3 fumigations going up and down every single day, you had to come up with $750,000 worth of infrastructure overnight, or else you lost your license and you lost your ability to perform. So what happened was a lot of these couples were like, well, crap, I guess we'll just have to retire 10 years early with 50% less money and sell our company to Orkin, sell our company to Terminex. And all of these mom and pop companies that could give you deals, that could show up on Sunday if, you called their cell phone, they actually cared about their customers, got gobbled up by what? The big national firms that could afford to purchase them. And now, instead of calling Frank, who owns ABC 123 Fumigation, I'm caller number 365, calling down to a call center in Riverside that's going to get transferred to an office in Chatsworth that's going to deal with a disinterested managing bureaucrat of Orkin or Terminex, and you don't get that treatment. And also, the employees in these companies have completely pay scaled and rigid pay scales that don't incentivize performance. I feel bad for Shakia Johnson. I bet you if she were an employee of my company, a family owned and operated company, that if she's killing it and she's selling and she's working it and she's pimping the product, you know what, dude? I want to increase her wage and I want to give her a percentage. I want to incentivize her. I bet you that I would sit her down and say, we want to keep you. We don't want you to go somewhere else. What do we got to do? And I would make a deal with her as a small business owner so that she feels taken care of and is making bank so she can put away money for college for her kids if that's what she wants, so she could get herself into a house, so she could get a decent car. That's what small business people do. Big business guys don't give a crap, and then they donate money to Democrat super PACs. All right? That's what they do. Okay? I love the meme. I'm sorry, I'm not even going to talk about that meme. But I really...
What's the matter? What's wrong with the meme?
Well, it's kind of wild. Like, sometimes people think I'm wildly conservative. Like, all my liberal friends think I'm conservative, and all my conservative friends think I'm liberal. But I'm not at all a big business guy. Okay, there's plenty of times where I think big business does a better job than small business. So I'm not anti big business. But let me tell you, I do believe that by and large, in most industries, you are better served by a small business owner, and small businesses better benefit their communities, the charities, and the organizations around them than big businesses do. And one of the biggest problems I have with minimum wage increases is that it destroys small business, it enables big business, and it frustrates the crap out of people like Shakia. So, Shakia, I'm sorry if I misrepresented how you feel, and I'm sorry if I'm botching your name. I hope that's how we pronounce it. But, yeah, I feel you, girlfriend. Wait, that's a girl, right? Oh, shoot.
I didn't ask.
Shakia. Oh, crap. If that's a dude, I apologize. Anyway, just let us know.
But I thought this was really fascinating. Someone in the chat pointed out, they said that it sucks, but like they literally, they were working in a position where they just automate jobs right now. It's something Andrew Yang talks about. And he says, like, I know these people. I talk to them. They're not like, like happy they're doing it, but it at the same time, it is the best thing to do. It's what makes things run more efficient. You can't just argue for inefficiency ever.
Tom Brady is a robot.
Dude, I don't know. Maybe. No.
Courtney Sedlak
Tom Brady can't be a robot. He's too lucky. Robots don't have luck. He's way too lucky to be a robot.
And technically, if Tom Brady were a robot, then Gisele Bündchen would get fooled by a robot.
Oh, she's a robot too, right? Both robots.
Did.
They're both bots. Reveal the bots.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll run on. Vote for me. Reveal the bots. That's my slogan.
That's funny. So, oh shoot, it just closed my live feed. I was just going to talk on a comment. Oh, here we go. I'm
Hi
back.
from Atlanta. Is that the one, by the way?
No,
hey,
not Hi from Atlanta.
Hi, Margaret.
Yeah. Hey, but the Atlanta Yang Gang, they're awesome.
Yeah,
shout
out those guys.
So Courtney Sedlasek says, what? Someone thinks he's a liberal? Dude, I run a podcast talking about Andrew Yang 90% of the time, and I'm the biggest proponent, I think, in North LA County, me and Cody are, of the freedom dividend. And just like I said, I think Trump would accept the freedom dividend before the old stodgy Republicans did. The old stodgy Republicans in Congress aren't the only old stodgy Republicans. I mean, there's old stodgy Republicans that can't wrap their mind around smartphones still. Okay, so how are they going to wrap their heads around the UBI? That's why they think I'm some liberal. They're like, well, that sounds a lot like communism to me. I mean, the very liberal distribution of wealth.
I love it.
It's un-American.
I got something to show.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't screened this fully, but I love the film, so I'm going to throw it on anyway.
Are we going to get another copyright strike?
No, I hope not.
Is this that zombie movie?
Is this that zombie movie? What a question, man. I don't know. Is it? Is this just that zombie movie? That one of them? I don't remember one of them.
Yeah, this is the original Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead, right?
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead. Yes, it's a George Romero classic.
Yeah, you know what? We gotta watch that.
Americans.
Hey, I haven't seen that one yet, dude.
You've never seen the original Dawn of the Dead. You've never seen that film.
One of my friends produced the remake.
Oh, the Zack Snyder remake.
Yeah, the Zack Snyder remake. And
that was a good meme. By the way, shout out Marcus Robert Johnson.
And I do. Oh, here's a quick.
That was a lot of fun. I actually like that.
Here's a quick.
Just stuff, dude. I love that movie. Sorry, guys.
Shoot, Shakia just said I'm a dude. Crap.
Yeah, well, just okay.
Am I pronouncing your name right, Shakia? You're a stud. Thanks for getting back to me. So,
Can you set up my internet?
Yeah. So. He says, you increase my respect for you by huge amounts. You hit it correctly. Awesome. And I got a preach from Kyoko703. This is great. This is great. So I do have to say, though.
Someone's making 70s movie Yang memes.
Yeah, well, I want to know. Actually, I want to know. This was interesting. I watched a really cool. People realize this, but I'm a huge fan of The Walking Dead. Okay.
Yeah. What's the zombie movie, though? Is that Dawn of the Dead? Is that the one? I can't remember.
There was everything of the dead. Like, there was Dawn of the Dead.
I know, yeah.
Day of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Midsummer Night's Dream of the Dead.
No, Return of the Living Dead. Very good film.
Return of the Living Dead. The original Night of the Living Dead. So anyway, I was watching this.
And Diary of the Dead are some late Romero films.
Yeah, so I was watching this interesting documentary on the different permutations that the zombie icon has had in American culture over the years. And it was really interesting seeing all these different directors that had done zombie movies talking about how different improvements to the zombie genre were made. And there's this big division among zombie fans about whether they like running zombies like in 28 Days Later or in Dawn of the
Biden
Dead, the
of the
remake,
Dead.
or whether they like the slow zombies. So I'm curious, Cody, which are you more afraid of, the running zombies or the slow zombies?
Oh,
The
the s-
running zombies are the ones where I think the apocalypse has come, dude.
No, it's those zombies. It's a real zombie. Night of the Living Dead. First real American zombie film. Not
Yeah, but those
counting
even
White
weren't
Zombie.
zombies. Those were like, and they could talk. They were like,
No.
Harold.
No, they took
Come
it
out.
took him a while to work it out a little bit. Anyway, Romero does he does kind of retcon his lore a little bit in the later films. A Day of the Dead, he teaches Bub how to use his pretty much use his brain and recognize who he wants to kill and kill him. That's an interesting thing. And then in Land of the Dead, they actually learn they can walk underwater and they take over the human village. So there's
So Mystery Man.
Diary
Oh,
of
dude,
the Dead,
this
I
is
remember.
funny. Look at his name, Mister Space E middle initial Man.
One of your funny stories. My old work, I remember we got a call from someone who was trying to tell us something kind of. They
Uh-huh.
wanted to keep a little bit quiet, right? And it was someone, Annie Mouse. Annie Mouse was their name. And I was just like, oh, Annie Mouse, really? That's who it was. Like, yeah, and do you know who that is? Anonymous? No, don't know who Anonymous is. Never heard of him.
Oh, I get
Yeah,
it.
it reminds me
if
if you ever seen the Jim Carrey film, The Number 23, where the author was Top Secrets. Similar thing.
Okay, that's
Who's
cool.
Top Secrets? I don't know who Top Secret is, man. That's a good question. Who is it?
So
same
Mystery
thing.
Man says, "Hey Cardin, when will the next qualifying poll be released?" That's a big problem, is we don't know when they are because they're supposed to be unpredictable in nature. That's why I always want to answer those polls and contribute if they ever do call you. Because let me tell you, how ineffective would polls be if everybody knew when the pollsters were going to be calling? We would all not pick up our phones that hour because nobody wants to participate in a poll.
I wonder if that's all the spam risk I keep getting.
Yeah, seriously,
I'm
maybe.
legit. I have that app that tells me if something's spam or not, and I get Zombieland 2 and it's coming out soon. I
Yeah,
get spam
Shan-
risk.
Shannon Bird brings up a good point that I haven't had a landline in 15 years. And to be honest with you, I think that's why a lot of the 2016 polls were very flawed. Why nobody saw the Donald Trump thing coming. That wasn't someone like me that has all these customers that I deal with daily and 100 conversations with 100 different people every day about politics. My ear was to those train tracks a lot better than I think half the pollsters were that live in their ivory towers. And when you have landline polls, you're only going to be interviewing who? Boomers who what? Have their minds already made up.
One thing though, shout outs to landline phones. Want to hear my millennial thing?
Yeah, go
My
for it.
anti-boomer thing.
Okay.
I didn't know you don't have to actually plug those phones into the wall with a power supply because they get their power through the phone port. I didn't know that.
Oh,
'Cause,
dude,
in
you are
my-
so Zoomer.
But I'm not. I'm a little older than that because in my lifetime we only had like the big ones with like the 35 call messenger and, and that needed power, but the phone itself didn't. So hey, in the case of an emergency, shout outs to landlines not needing an additional power supply.
Dude.
You can plug them into that thing and you're good. So remember that.
I'm
guys.
going to go straight Zennial on you, bro, because I'm technically a Zennial. Okay. Have you seen the new series? I think it's out. I think it's out on VH1, but there's also sections on YouTube where they take really young millennials or Gen Zers and they give them a 1980s appliance and try and see if it works. And like these
yeah,
kids
I've seen it,
trying
yeah.
to
The
figure
rotary
out
phone.
what a rotary phone is or what a VHS does. The rotary phone was epic. I actually had the phone upstairs that was the extra phone that we only use like in case of emergencies was a straight up rotary phone. And I remember actually having to put my finger in and then do each little number like that. So anyway, let's keep going back to the comments.
I got some more George Romero Yang memes. So, yeah, I'm not gonna play the audio. I just want to get flagged, but I just wanted to highlight this from Sim when I'm marker. And stuff just cracks. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a sucker for
Me trying to
for
explain
movies I like.
automation to people.
former Trump supporter. So yeah. Without the context of the film, it is hard to understand. I apologize. Sorry, guys. I'm a sucker for stuff like that. I'm gonna do it. So
Morgan Countess, how old is Cardin? You know what? That'd be actually really funny.
66. He looks really good for his age.
Yeah. Actually, I totally feel comfortable about my age, but I think we'll play a little bit of a game here really fast. I am young enough to remember when Transformers was still on television, and to my first recollection of a president speaking was actually George Bush Sr. However, I was born during the Reagan administration. I'm a Zennial, which is technically the millennials born between 1980 and 1984. Apparently, we're willing to adopt the new technology and are very technologically adept, as evidenced by the fact that I'm live streaming here. But apparently, our worldview shares the cynicism of many Gen Xers. So that might explain why I'm cynical sometimes.
Yes, you're very cynical.
So Yang/Musk 2020. Oh, actually, thank you very much, Jay Levesque. You totally just reminded me of something.
Freedom Dividend Party. It's a good plan.
I was not a fan of Elon Musk dropping out of Donald Trump's cabinet, and I felt like it was a social decision.
It's such an Elon Musk move in general, though. Like, it doesn't matter who's president. Like, the president wants me in his cabinet.
But you can't say you support the
I
off.
leave.
What a beautiful opportunity to actually influence directly the
He
president of
doesn't
the
care
free
about
world.
that. It's Elon Musk, man. He's like, he does whatever he wants. It's more like that's his brand. He'd walk away from the administration of the White House. It's his brand.
Yeah, the first thing I would do if I were made president is I don't know why people don't take former opposition members into their cabinet, especially if you at least trust that their heart is good. Okay, I trust 100% that Tulsi Gabbard's heart is good. I think she's misled in some of her party line decisions, but at the end of the day, I think her heart is good. If I were Donald Trump, I would totally think, wow, what a good way to reach out to the other half of the nation that didn't vote for me and convince them that I am a president of them as well and not just president of Republicans or my supporters, than to hire an anti-war Democrat senator from Hawaii to help advise me on anti-war policy, which I claim to embrace anyway. I never understood why they don't do that. So Akshay Kokula, yep, you guessed it right. 36. Ouch. Kyoko 703 guessing 39. Do I look that bad, dog? Might need to start doing those masks. Dude, my wife wants me to do that foreskin mask. And I was like, heck to the no.
Oh, man, that's fair.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
Or
those vampire masks where people take their own blood and they put it on, like Kim Kardashian did that. My wife was showing me all these like pictures of like a vampire mask. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to smear my own blood all over my face.
Are you going to take the Gwyneth Paltrow healthcare, the Gwyneth Paltrow skincare routine? Going to go full goop, right?
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about this. Wizakejak Archetype. I botched that name. Talk about how jobs don't even give you 8-hour shifts. You want to know what, dude? It's not the jobs don't give you 8-hour shifts. It's that this is one of the unintended consequences that the left never wanted to acknowledge was going to be a reality and that the right talked about of Obamacare. Obamacare changed all the rules, so much so that now if you go above 36, once you hit the 36th hour, once you go above 35 hours of any week of the month, you owe that employee all of these different health benefits. And in California, it gets even worse. The second I hire somebody, I owe them 3 days of unpaid sick leave. So in reality, I could hire somebody just to train them for the day. And if they get sick on that day, or else they just get scared of bugs and they just decide to quit.
I sympathize. I'm scared with bugs, though, dude.
No, that's fine. But do I owe you 4 days pay? Because I have to pay you the 3 days.
I'll take it.
Well, yeah, you'll take it. But do you really be honest, Cody? If we hired an intern to come in here,
it would suck. Okay, but the thing is, though, like,
4 days of $17.50 minimum wage, which really ends up being $30 an hour once you include payroll tax and all that stuff. At 8 hours, that's $240 a day. Times up by 3, you're looking at $720 plus the $240 that you already owe him. So for hiring an intern once to come in here one day for an 8-hour day and says he doesn't like it, we owe him at Problem Solver Politics $1,000.
Okay, but like,
is that moral?
I don't know
do you think that because he came in here and tried it out?
I don't care. You know what? That would kind of suck, but maybe in the long run, the other end of it, the other fringe cases might kind of cancel that out, and it might just work in the majority. Like, dude, I don't like when it's like, we're going to talk about this thing. No, but actually, we're going to talk about this very specific fringe instance I'm framing. Okay, yeah,
but it's not a fringe instance. This has happened to me in jobs. This has happened to me.
But people have also been screwed by employers and like lost a lot as well. Like
So do we want to destroy all of small business just so that big business can be the only employer?
I don't think people taking a job and quitting the next day is crippled. It's
by the way
bad, but it's not an epidemic running
Andrew
through.
Yang robo spam right here. See that right there? I'm getting a potential spam. He would get rid of that.
It's off now, but
yeah,
spam alert. My best friend spam alert.
Whenever
I'm feeling like I'm not doing anything tonight.
Well, so hold on. I'm gonna get back to this. Talk about how jobs don't even give you 8-hour shifts now. It's because they can't. They can't. Half of these companies now, and this is why we have a gig economy. In order to work 60 hours a week now, you have to have two 30-hour-a-week jobs because no company is going to go above 35 because there's accountants in the back room saying, you can't hire this kid for more than a 5-hour shift. I don't care if he's a good worker. I don't want to hit above that 35 hours, or else I'm going to all of this Obamacare for somebody that only worked 36 hours a week. And so as an employee, you are just a potential lawsuit to these people that have entire law divisions and accounting divisions that know exactly how to do the minimum. In fact, did you know that there's rules that once you hit 50 employees, you're no longer considered a small business, you're considered a big business, and they want to give you bigger taxes? So companies will actually hire my dad worked at one of these companies, okay? When their company got so big that they were at 48 don't interrupt me, man. I'm giving a good example. Once they got to 48 employees, okay, you know what they did? It was a factory that sold different kinds of parts to car manufacturers, okay? What they did was they created a fulfillment company that was separated. They excised their 20 warehouse workers, just created a different LLC and said, oh, this is a separate company now that does fulfillment. Same employees, same building, same everything. It's just that now they were a company with 30 employees in the office and then 20 in the fulfillment center. And they could hire those extra that they wanted because, oh, we're two separate companies now. When in reality, they're just one company that wanted to get around the loophole of having 50 employees. So the reason why you're not getting more than 8-hour shifts, bro, and you're not making money even though you're willing and you're able is because of Obamacare. It is because of Obamacare and all the draconian crap associated with it and all of the government intervention rules they had in there. If they would just release Obamacare, get rid of it, find something better, not only would you probably, if you're a good employee like Shakia Johnson is, get all the hours you want, you'd probably end up making a lot more money than all of your benefits from Obamacare are worth to you anyway. This is how government intervention and anti-capitalism works. It empowers the government because it creates more problems than it solves. And then when you're frustrated, you'll vote for the guy who says, up the minimum wage, up the minimum wage.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? No, this is why it's called seductive socialism, and it crashed. Let's name the countries. China, everything in Eastern Europe.
Well, China's
Germany.
not crashed yet.
Oh, it didn't crash? Oh, sorry. Yeah, the 20 million people that starved in the 1960s.
Yeah, I just want to make it very clear. I'm definitely pro-Chinese communism.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, about the same then, that's me too. A bunch of people guessed my age correctly. And he said, I agree, we need something better, Medicare for all. Dude, no way, not Medicare for all. I've seen states come up with individual good state plans. I'm a states' right guy. And Steve Knight here had an amazing plan. There was a public-private partnership between all of the pharmacy companies, all the Walmarts, the Walgreens, the Rite Aid, so on and so forth. There's much better plans out there than Medicare for all. Medicare for all is just a big, fat power grab by people that want to prey upon the sick and the afflicted. You know what I'm saying? I could see why people with good hearts would want it because they want to alleviate suffering and they are good people inside. And in this confusing system, Ben Shapiro says it better than anybody else. We have a system right now where we're getting the worst of both worlds. We have to pay the high socialist prices without getting Medicare for all. And we do get the research and development of a capitalist system, but all the intervention keeps us from getting all the free market advantages. So right now, I agree with the spirit of this comment. I really agree with the spirit of this comment, not with the absolute substance, but I do agree with the spirit of this comment. I already lost who made the comment, but
really quickly, and this isn't, I don't want you guys to read into this. I just think it's funny when any news source does this in general, right? But I got breaking news from Daily Caller. This is big stuff.
okay.
Ariana Grande and singer Mikey Foster have been dating for a while? What? Are you serious?
Geez, that's your big news.
Why is the Daily Caller writing about it? I thought they were writing about politics. What is this? Thanks, Tucker Carlson. This is what I'm looking for. I don't know. Sorry, whenever I see stuff like this, where someone's supposed to be kind of like one of these like more like stodgy news sources, just comes out with like, oh, you'll never guess what like a People magazine article. Like, what is this? So I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was really ridiculous. I saw that. Okay,
so here's two good questions. How do you get the health plans price down? Elijah
Ben
Lawson.
Shapiro's wife's a doctor. What?
Yeah, that's pretty well known.
That's the joke.
Oh, okay.
He works it in everywhere. My wife, she's a doctor. Oh God, the wife, she is.
So UBUU7 says, here's a compromise. Have Congress allow an interstate compact so liberal states can create an opt-in state-based Medicare for all system within the states that want it. That's fair. I'm okay with that. To a certain extent, that's what Romney Care was, to a certain extent. Elijah Lawson brings up an interesting case here. How do you get health plans priced down? Here, it's very simple. Get rid of all the dumb interventionist rules that Jimmy Carter, predating all of us, put in place. He's the bonehead that put in the rules that you can have no interstate competition, which is so dumb. If some guy in Iowa has figured out an algorithm and a way of giving preventive medical care that is going to not only make Americans healthier, but drive their costs down, why shouldn't he be able to sell his plan to people in Nevada, people in Missouri, people in Florida, people in California? You can't, because Jimmy Carter made the stupid rule where states aren't allowed to compete with each other, which is really dumb. Could you imagine if you weren't allowed to watch Problem Solver Politics because we were broadcasting on the internet from California? Could you imagine if there was a rule saying that if Problem Solver Politics wants to be in Nevada, they need to set up a brick and mortar office in Nevada and have at least 8 employees so that people in Nevada can watch Problem Solver Politics? That would be idiotic. And they would require it in Oregon. They would require it in Florida. They would require it in New York, which is absolutely asinine. Okay. You don't see a Blue Cross Blue Shield of California versus a Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nevada in the automotive insurance industry. You just sign up for one, Geico. It's a national commercial. And Geico is competing with Mercury, is competing with Progressive, is competing with State Farm. And with State Farm, you know you're going to get an agent. It's going to be more expensive, but you have a human voice you can talk to. With Geico, you're going to get funny commercials and a well-run and efficient call center, but you're not going to have an agent. You'll save a little bit of money, though. And you're allowed to make all of these decisions. Why? Because one insurance company can compete with another insurance company, and there's minimum requirements. The government comes out and says, look, if you want to give insurance in our state, you have to give at least $250,000 of auto wreck insurance, at least $50,000 of personal injury, and at least $150,000 of property damage. And they have some minimum requirements. And then Geico, Mercury, Progressive, these different companies can compete with each other based upon those simple regulations. Imagine if we just did that with healthcare. Market to compete. And instead of becoming rich and wealthy off of lobbying and donations and preying upon people's need for insulin, sucking them dry of every penny they need for a life-saving EpiPen, empowered by a bureaucracy of government that you cannot fight because you cannot complain. And if you do, you're going to sit on the phone for 8 hours with a call center in India before you call your congressman and sit on a phone for 6 hours with those interns. It's literally impossible to fight the government, but the free market can compete on your behalf. So if you want to get those health plan prices down, you got to allow competition back into the sphere of medical insurance. That's my answer for Elijah Johnson. And what's hilarious is Ethan says Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas would go bankrupt and every company would shut down if we had a $15 per hour minimum wage. That's probably true. I have family in Arkansas. You want a little Arkansas joke, Cody?
Oh, what's there about Arkansas?
What's the difference? And I can say this. I got family out there. What's the difference? What's the difference between a tornado in Kentucky and a divorce in Arkansas?
You got me.
Nothing, because in both cases, somebody's losing a trailer. Oh, that's a solid 9 out of 10 right there. Solid 9 out of 10.
It's a joke. That is a joke.
Yeah. So Rock Lee says, "What are you talking?" Alyssa Monet Mason. Totally laughing at our buddy Shakia Johnson. And then here's a big hole Charles Dew noticed in Yang's platform. Public transportation reform, which is a key component to lowering emissions and lower barrier to work commute. Thoughts?
Oh, sorry. Hold on 1 second.
I got huge thoughts on that. What do you got?
Oh, a new poll just dropped from Morning Consult that had Andrew Yang getting 2%. Here's the weird thing. Generally speaking, Morning Consult polls would not count. However, they do say that some of the more region-specific polls would count, and this is a poll specific to Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada. So It's based on multiple survey interviews conducted between August 1st and 4th. Andrew Yang does have 2%. I do not believe this one will count, but like I said, unfortunately,
but
I
it's
do not know if
showing
it's
he's
so
hitting
cut
the
and dry.
but it's showing that he's hitting the 2% threshold.
At the least, at the most, it might count. We don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think it will. I don't think it will, but it might.
And we've got a month for another official one to pass, and he's getting 2 or 3% in all of the unofficial polls. So basically, the Yang Gang can sit comfortably knowing that he's going to qualify. It hasn't happened officially yet, but he's going to qualify. Are you opinionated on this public transportation reform? Because I got a huge historical reference for this one.
I mean, like, yeah, we definitely need a lot of. I think the biggest thing is, though, we need a lot of bureaucratic reform across the board. Because I think it doesn't matter what we can do. Like, ultimately, the plan is going to be we're going to spend a bunch of money, but how? Like, we're going to spend a bunch of money isn't even on the table for debate if we're talking about it. Just how are we going to spend it? Who's it going to go to? So I think we need to clean up where the money goes first and what's being spent on first. Then we can spend whatever we want, but let's figure out. I don't want a system that failed and kind of bled money until it collapsed to just have more money pumped into it so it could eventually fail and collapse. Like, we need to look more at where that money's going. Because like I said, the debate's always going to be for just someone's getting a boatload of money from the government. Just who's getting it and how are we going to have it spent? And I think we just need to look more at those. Because, dude, there's a lot of government organizations I think clearly just bleed money, don't operate efficiently. And this is the one thing, too. I think there are some social programs we honestly... They could have been going for 15, 20 years, and we can't even really fully say how well they do or don't work because there's just so much bureaucratic waste. It's like, well
we
if
know
it was running properly, maybe it would be better. I don't know, right?
Well, we know Amtrak, for example, is wildly unprofitable. There's some public transportation that needs to get done. Okay, I lived in New York City, and public transportation is a beautiful thing. Ever since they built the Miracle Mile here in Los Angeles, public transportation is an impossibility, and putting money into it is an absolute waste. But in other areas, it's very necessary. In fact, public transportation, they say, is what killed Buffalo, New York. It used to be that Buffalo, New York was growing just as quickly as New York City. I mean, obviously not exact stats, but both were these up-and-coming towns that were next to large bodies of water and had huge shipping ports and large amounts of commerce, except for Buffalo's wealthy specifically built their city without public transportation because they wanted to discourage the pauper class, the poor people, from coming into the rich, nice parts of town where all of their mansions were. But because of that, their city atrophied. It wasn't easy to work and get in and out, and therefore people were disincentivized from economically spending time and dollars there. So the short-term gain of not having a lot of poor people around resulted in Buffalo basically just not growing to be the next New York City in the state of New York. And it's always languished and stayed as this small kind of local town that's just got this mid-sized town feel in upstate New York instead of becoming the next big thriving metropolis like other cities that had very good public transportation systems. If you look at Los Angeles, part of the reason why we have urban sprawl is because we stopped doing public transportation. Meanwhile, Chicago, you look at New York City, even a lot of the cities along the northeastern seaboard have really, really good public transportation. So I do think public transportation reform is an issue. But once again, that's probably going to be more of a states' rights issue and a state issue than it's going to be a federal issue, if that makes sense.
Any celebrities in the Yang Gang? Nicolas Cage confirmed, yes. Daniel Negreanu, pro poker player, Yang Gang. Aside from that, yeah, Nick Cage, though. Love Nick Cage.
Yeah, the Makeshift 101 says, high-speed rail trains connecting every major city in every state. Imagine with UBI, people could spend money throughout the country.
That'd be cool.
Well, nothing's going to change with high-speed rail because in America, high-speed rail can't go above 200 miles per hour, and we already got trains that can go close to that. And we pretty much already have trains that connect every major city. It's Amtrak. I mean, don't forget, the Transcontinental Railroad was connected in the late 1800s. I think it was the 1870s, right? And nobody travels by train anymore. So I could see how
some people do.
Yeah, but
I have personally.
Okay. So anyway, we need automated electric. We need automated electric tunnel digging for Los Angeles. Elon Musk is working on that actually, and he's got seismically sound subway tunnel tubes, which I fully support because I really think if we could unlock the subway, that'd be great. The only problem here in Los Angeles is that we have. It's a river basin and it's an oil town. We've got La Brea tar pits here. The largest natural disaster before, I think, one of the major hurricanes was actually the Mulholland Dam disaster, in which over, I
No,
think,
wait, St. Francis Dam, right?
Yeah, the St. Francis Dam disaster, which
Yeah.
was built by Mulholland.
Yeah, what a
This-
guy.
Yeah, the civil engineer of Los Angeles. It actually led to his retirement. It was built on a type of rock called mica schist that actually was very slippery, and it was a sedimentary rock that couldn't hold very well. And so the problem with a lot of the public transportation in Southern California is, unless seismically isolated, it needs to be above ground, not underground, due to soil problems and seismic problems. So I agree with your sentiment.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sorry. Musk abandoned the tunnel project. It didn't actually come to fruition correctly.
Oh yeah, sorry, you're right. I apologize. I was out of context there.
No,
But-
the only reason why it was kind of funny, people were like, "Oh, what's this great tunnel thing?" And then he unveiled it. People were like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, never mind. It didn't work."
Yeah, and he started with a pit in his parking lot. That's hilarious
Yeah,
too. He
it
just
was
like
like,
went to
oh.
his parking lot and started digging a pit.
How about this? It was interesting. There
Did
was
he dial 411 before he dug?
Hey, how about this? He's Elon Musk, one of those guys. If he just randomly, he died. We don't know why. I'd be one of those people like, I wonder why. You know, he knows stuff, man. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my conspiracy theory for the night, right there.
Would
Elon Musk
hashtag-
knows stuff.
Would hashtag Clinton body count start trending if he died?
There would definitely be a fake tweet of him saying, "I have information that would lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton." That would definitely happen. Of
So
course,
Dan-
I never want anything bad to happen to Elon Musk. Very good guy. Fascinating, bizarre story about him and LSD and his girlfriend Grimes and how that all came together. That's actually, I don't know all the facts. So I don't want to speak too much on it, but yeah, I don't know why.
So Dan Murphy says the space farce. I get what you did there. The Space Force would be so much better if it was Yang/Musk Space
Yeah,
Force.
I'd take
That's
it.
true. I
I'd
think
take
they'd be
it.
heavily motivated, and that'd be awesome. And then also, Mike K makes a really interesting observation here. First Van Jones, then Whoopi Goldberg, now Dominique Wilkins.
Oh, Dominique, dude. He's a great player.
All right. So they can at least
NBA
play.
player, for those of you who aren't familiar.
Yeah. So
For the Hawks, I believe, primarily.
So Elon Musk cannot officially endorse Yang because of government contracts with SpaceX. Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I forgot, man.
Sounds plausible. I don't know if it's true, but that sounds plausible. I'd believe that.
No, a lot of these corporations have huge
Oh,
clauses
I mean, yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. I
Mhm.
definitely believe that.
So
Yang's first ambassador of culture. Did he talk about getting rid of that one? I know he got rid of the ombudsman. Did he get rid of that one too? I expect, guys. I do expect. This is one thing. I think it's a funny thing. We can actually have a little debate on this. I expect as time moves forward, guys, we're gonna see Yang start. Right now, it's cool. He has like 95, 100 policies. But as the debates start winding down, it's going to become a little bit almost like a hindrance. Like, okay, I'm really happy you have a policy and what we should do about the penny, Mr. Yang. But what should we do about like healthcare and you know what I mean? So I think we're going to
Yeah.
see a trimming or a lot of that stuff moved off, and I'm just going to focus on a few. I've already seen, like I said, the ombudsman removed. People are like, it's kind of weird. I think culture and ceremony might get removed. So I don't know. That's just one of my opinions. I think as we move forward, we're going to see him kind of start moving a lot of that stuff to other parts of his policy page and saying, these are vote for me because of this. And then there's other stuff I think. That's what I think.
okay, so Dan Murphy brought up something really funny. He said, first Whoopi Goldberg, next Oprah. Oh
believe it.
yeah,
Has
I
just
love
Dr. Phil?
Well, did Dr. Phil endorse Andrew?
No. How cool would that be though, huh?
Oh,
Dr. Phil?
okay. I was about going to say, I love the Chris Rock comedy routine. I don't remember the stage that he
no.
was at, but do you remember the Chris Rock comedy routine where Barack and Michelle Obama were up there and then Oprah was up there? And he said, I know for a fact that Barack didn't give Oprah a job. Oprah gave Barack a job when she came out and she endorsed him. The crowd roared. It was totally hilarious.
How about this?
Anthony White's?
No, it's something different. We just got a donation from Daniel, who asked us what is the schedule going to be for the streams because I keep missing them. We're actually hammering it out. We haven't got it finalized yet. I think, to be frank, guys, where it's probably going to be just for our schedule.
Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Weekdays at about 7 p.m. Maybe weekdays at 7 p.m. We can probably guarantee it. We'll let you know a bit earlier. It's gonna be weekdays at 7 p.m. We'll let you know which days we're gonna iron out in general. But just that's probably where we're looking as far as when we can get together. So again, thank you for the donation, Daniel. Very much appreciate it. And that's just to answer that question. We haven't hammered it in yet. We're looking at realistically, we probably can't get together much sooner than like 7. So during the week, about 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when you guys all have to look for us. But we could change that and amend that. Just right now, that's the most realistic. Sorry. So to answer your question.
Yeah, so Anthony White, you got to check out one of our pinned videos on our YouTube channel. Anthony White asks, do you think Yang actually has a chance at winning the Democratic nomination? Up until hashtag Let Yang Speak happened, that was one of our highest watched and trending videos. He absolutely does, but it would require two things: that the DNC be transparent and cooperative, and we're not exactly sure how transparent and cooperative they are, especially after what they did to Bernie Sanders in 2016, and it seems like they haven't learned their lesson completely. So, yeah. And second, it would require his performance and the Yang Gang's performance. We do not at all doubt that he has better ideas than his Democrat cohorts. Okay. At this point, if we have any doubts, our doubts are in the system. Because when we asked a lot of, a lot of Yang supporters at the Yang rally, that 1/3 were Trump supporters, 1/3 were previous Democrats, and 1/3 were just kind of apolitical people that were just interested. We asked them that question: do you think he can win the Democratic debates in 2020? And there were a lot of naysayers, a lot of people that said, oh, I love him, but I don't think he can win. However, when asked why, a lot of people said, oh, well, because Bernie Sanders. Oh, well, because of Joe Biden. But now with Biden getting all of these attacks and dipping in the polls, and Bernie Sanders not really surging further than you would expect him to go, and Elizabeth Warren taking out his heels, I think the more combatants, the more candidates that are vying for this spot, the better. And the increased chances he has of having some really good moments, and especially the more they act like SJW clowns, and the more it's just a clown world on stage, the better chance that Andrew Yang has at getting a breakthrough moment. Now, his personality is obviously not meant for political debate stages where everything depends on fake outrage and 20-second sound bites that can be used in fundraising emails and MSNBC commercials, okay? But if there's anybody that can pull off a very good moment and has been recognized as having good body language as an outsider in the political sphere, as we talked about in our podcast 3 or 4 days ago about the bipartisan response to Andrew Yang, it could be Andrew Yang, and we hope he does. So Liam says high-speed rail works for major cities within a 200 to 600 mile radius of each other. Yeah, if there's a reason to go to them. I don't have a reason to go to Bakersfield, but that is a good point. And Starchy Pancakes says, oh, wait, no, I was looking at the wrong one. But that's a great name, Starchy Pancakes. That is pretty awesome. Mike K says, we need a hashtag to Yang Pill Oprah.
Well, get Yang on Oprah, right? That'd be a great appearance for me. Is it on the? I mean, I don't want to equate The View and Oprah, but he's been on The View. It's a similar audience, I believe.
Yeah, hashtag Let Yang Speak on Oprah.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a hashtag right there.
How about, has it an Ellen yet? I was watching Ellen today at a restaurant. Is it an Ellen? That could be good for him. I think he would really good in Ellen, actually. He's got a really good personality for that kind of show. He's really playful, you know? So I like that.
Yeah. We're back on these tunnels again. Logician32 Gaming says
I know there's 5 time zones in the United States. I just forget what they are.
Boring Company has stated that tunnels are safer to be in during earthquakes. I believe that. Also in California, one of the safest places to be during an earthquake is on a roller coaster because they're bolted to the ground in so many different places. It's one of the safest places you could be in an earthquake or a seismic event.
I think you have to be more specific, right? There's probably certain parts of certain roller coasters that are not safe to be on during an earthquake, but in general, I agree, yeah.
Oh, so UBUU7 has a very deep comment here that I want to go over. He says, I've never tried a psychedelic, but I want to.
Okay.
All right. Tell us how it goes, bro.
I guess.
And then this is really funny. Are these guys leftists, conservatives, ? SOZ, first time here?
I like to consider myself a radical centrist, so you can make of that what you will.
Yeah, so Rogel Dorn.
No, I'm mostly independent centrist, I guess. I don't like the government, but I'm not libertarian. I guess whatever you call someone who's not libertarian but doesn't like the government either. That's me.
Yeah, I've always viewed you, Cody, as kind of like not an apolitical person because you're politically in the know, but you're definitely, I'd say, a little bit more Zoomer, anti-establishmentarian.
Just don't like the government, man. Not a fan of the government.
Yeah, you're like the Italian guy in, I think it was in The Italian Job where there was that one family that says, we do not work with governments.
Anymore. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was a great movie. I'll have to find
the original
that
one or the remake with Michael? The original with Michael Caine or the remake with?
Gosh, I gotta remember.
Edward Norton. Andrew, I think I heard something about maybe him moving on, being on Hot Ones. Maybe not. 6 time zones in USA. I am, man. I'm getting owned about time zones today in the chat. You guys are owning me on time zones. All I know is PST's best time zone. Sorry, guys.
So this is hilarious. 2 things. Spectre Mikado says you have to ask yourself, how will corporations profit off of UBI, and if they can, they will let him do his thing. And obviously, this person is referencing Andrew Yang. Now, here's how I think it could benefit corporations, because obviously it needs to benefit corporations. I don't like how we've vilified the 1%, when in many regards we need the 1%. Like Elon Musk, we have off of his advancements in thought, in inventions, in automobiles. Don't vilify this guy. Learn from this guy. Okay. So Henry Ford was the Elon Musk of the early 20th century. He came out infamously with the Model T and with the assembly line, and, basically birthed the modern American automotive industry. Okay. And he's also the one that birthed the idea of having an 8-hour work week with 2 days off in a row. Previously, then, workers would just work day in and day out, and Christian communities might give them a Sunday off, but they work like dogs. But Henry Ford realized, if I give my people 2 days off, not only are they more productive in my factory, but they also have the leisure time and the desire to buy my product. What better reason to buy my fabricated goods and a car than if you're going to drive out into the country with your family? What better reason to buy my luggage, like in the remake of Winnie the Pooh, than if you have leisure time that you need to spend with your family? So Henry Ford made a very good moral and economic decision when he said, I'm going to give actual time off to my workers so they can become more profitable and also buy my goods. It establishes longevity in the marketplace for me. It produces more customer loyalty and less turnover amongst my employees, which also increases my efficiency and profitability. So if we have a society in which an unconditional UBI is paid to every citizen, imagine those benefits.
Well, also, they're just going to have whatever the day the UBI comes on, that's just going to become a discount day, sale day. It's like people bring this up, but realistically, there's going to be people who get the UBI check and blow half it before they get home the day they get it.
Yeah, well, that's all people did with George Bush's.
But what I'm saying is that is how businesses are probably going to profit the most, is by they're going to do a lot of research, and the best way to get someone's freedom dividend dollars the soonest from the day they're paid. That's what they're going to benefit. That's just how it's going to work. That's what I believe.
So I only have room for a couple more questions here. Spectre Mikado says you have to ask yourself how. Oh, I'm sorry. Dan Murphy says FWIW. I don't know what that means. I think it meant FYI. But anyway, Buttigieg finally has 30 policies on his site. LOL. Buttigieg.
Getting there.
Buttigieg is catching up. He's catching up. He's got $30 million and 30 proposals on his site. Each one of his proposals worth $1 million. Andrew Yang's got like 2.5, 3 million on hand, but he's got like 150 proposals. Much more efficient.
Yeah, well, but at the same time, like I said, remember, Andrew Yang has proposals that are like airlines. If they throw you off a plane, you just have to pay you more. It's like, I guess, man, but like really, I like this stuff, but it's like, I don't necessarily know if it's like
more like good society.
I'm not a single issue voter on airlines. Well, you know what? I've never heard any president tell me that if they throw me, you know what I mean? Like it's cool stuff, but it's not going to win you the election. So that is pretty fascinating. That Buttigieg is getting close to 30 and Yang is at 90. But like I said earlier, I think he's going to trim it down a little bit. He'll cut some of those out because, dude, imagine that you go on stage. Donald Trump says, "This is the guy who wants to get rid of the penny. I don't care about the penny. Do you care about the penny?" I don't know.
Hey, we have to have the elevator pitch that Andrew Yang told us, because there's a lot of questions here. Ty Sweet says, you guys should try and get an interview with Yang. We actually have. We've already interviewed Yang. Yeah. We want to get, it wasn't a sit down.
On this channel, we asked him questions.
Yeah, on this channel, we asked Andrew Yang questions directly. It was actually at the LA rally, okay? And you can see the interview.
I'll post the link. Hold on, give me 1 second.
It's only a 3-minute interview, but we were able to grab 2 or 3 minutes with him while there was a bunch of other people clamoring on the other side of the rail. It was hilarious. And you're only allowed 2 questions at a time, and he would actually take you away. But we do intend on trying to get him back on the channel. We have had him on the channel once, but we would like a long-form sit-down. Yes, absolutely. We would like a long-form sit-down. And this is where you guys as fans could help. Dude, just tweet at him. Say, hey, can you guys interview with Problem Solver Politics? These guys are talking UBI, talking the freedom dividend, talking your proposals. Please sit down with him. And if you can get Dave Rubin to hashtag debate Sam Cedar. We should be able to get Andrew Yang to hashtag interview with Problem Solver Politics. Anyway, never mind. You are not in a mountain.
I just dropped the link. Sorry, guys. That's the link that I posted was of our interview with Andrew Yang. Cool.
Okay,
It was one of the videos we did a while ago. We did it, posted it shortly after the rally, which was April 23rd, I want to say was the rally. So
is it Shakia or Shakaya?
he told you.
No, he said he was a dude.
No, he told you. So it's tough to find now.
Oh, dang it. Did I miss that one? I'm sorry. Let's just say it's Shakaya sounds cool. Shakia sounds cool.
Like someone
too,
says,
though.
call him Shaq, dude. Who doesn't want to be Shaq?
Yeah. Johnson. Of course, maybe that's a nickname he totally hates.
Yeah, I apologize. But dude, Shaq.
Right.
He's Shaquille O'Neal.
So we'll call him the Shaq Johnson.
Three-time champion
How
with
do
the
you
Lakers,
see a
one time with the
Yang?
Heat.
Yeah, how do you see a Yang-Trump debate? I'll tell you. I see Andrew Yang using a lot of math, a lot of facts, and a lot of figures. And actually, if he could not go on the attack, because Trump himself says, I'm a counterpuncher. And when you look at all of his debates, his best moments are counterpunches. When Hillary Clinton...
Shakaya. There we go. Thank you. That's what he was pronounced.
Oh, Shakaya? Okay. When Hillary Clinton said, it's a good thing that men like... with the
sorry.
It's a good thing that men with the temperament like Donald Trump aren't in charge of our country. And he leans into the mic and says, yeah, because you'd be in jail. That is one of the most repeatable sound bites out there that cost her that debate. And it was a counterpunch. Okay. And Donald Trump didn't start going after Jeb until it was time to counterpunch. So I would see Andrew Yang getting up there, and as long as he could avoid the direct attacks and the orange man bad accusations that are red meat for the SJWs. See, the SJWs, if you do everything they want in a debate, you're actually going to lose the debate because you're going to turn off the centrist middle, okay? But if you want to actually turn on the centrist middle, okay, you just got to come out and prove to them that you are morally invested in the success of them and their children, and that you have the intelligence and the capability of pulling off these improvement plans that you're proposing. And if he got out there and he said, look, suicide, especially in places where there's been heavy loss due to jobs and automation, where people have turned to unemployment, disability, and substance abuse, we can change it, and I got to propose that, this, that. And if he comes across as the loving alternative to the football coach who wants to bash everybody's head in, then especially amongst female voters, and especially amongst people whose jobs will be affected by automation, I could see him performing really well. If he slips into the identity politics of the opposite of Donald Trump is, as much as that's funny and it might be good one time, that's all you need to say. Because once you start vilifying X, X gains power. And when there's a movement against X, I always bet on X. So that's how I see a Yang debate going. And I think he's intelligent enough to do that. And the reason why that would be beneficial for the country is, regardless of who you like more, I see huge advantages to Donald Trump getting reelected.
Well, how about this?
I see huge advantages to Andrew Yang getting reelected. Okay. No matter what you think about either one of those candidates, the conversation that Andrew Yang would be having with Donald Trump is vastly different than the conversation that Kirsten Gillibrand would be having with Donald Trump. And those are the conversations that America needs to hear. And that's why we support Andrew Yang in this regard.
Yeah. No,
so
yeah.
anyway, I thought you wanted to say something. Sorry.
No, I did. A couple things. There's going to be debates every month for the next, I believe, at least 6 months. They're kind of breaking them up into segments of 2. So there'll be a September debate. Oh, man. Months. August, November, October. All these months are going to have debates as well. And then someone asked us this earlier. And to be frank, maybe you could help us with this. Anyone else from the area. Someone asked us if we talked about the Puerto Rican political crisis. We have not yet. To be frank, I'm not 100% sure about what's going on with that. So anyone can enlighten us a little bit. I'd love to talk about it with you guys. I'm just not 100% sure what's going on. I know, from what I remember, there was some what's the word? Like chat logs or something leaked that caused the, I believe, governor to step down. That's about as much as I know. So if you guys want to tell us more, we'd love to talk about it. Sorry, I just wanted to get that out.
So that's very well spoken for a liberal.
Oh, hold up. That's a good
Raul
point.
Gondo
Charles made a
says,
good point. Sorry. Do you think Yang should come out and promise to pardon Trump? Yes. I think it happened before with Nixon. It's a great idea. Andrew Yang's first 4 years
The
of his presidency
SJWs would go nuts.
But the Andrew Yang's first 4 years of his presidency should be about Andrew Yang and his policy, not prosecuting the former president. Pardon him, move on. That's the idea. Is
okay, interesting.
I'm not going to spend the first 2 years. Remember, Donald Trump had 2 years where he had the House and Senate, and then he lost the House, and now he hasn't done much since. If that happens, you can't afford to spend the first 2 years of your presidency going back and forth over how long Trump's in jail for. Pardon the guy, move on. He won the election, even if he committed crimes. It doesn't do good for Andrew Yang. Now, you can argue it's a good idea or a bad idea. I think Andrew Yang should for himself, for sure. The first 4 years of Andrew Yang's presidency should be about Andrew Yang, right? And not anything else. So that's what I think about that.
Okay, so here's an interesting comment. Raul Gondo has outed you. He says Cody is very leftist. He just doesn't like the label. You're like Tim Pool.
I swear, I'm not. Like I said, I don't like the government. I don't care which part of the government it is. So I don't like I don't know. That's more my political stance. Is I don't like the government. I get it that it has to exist. I understand that even though sometimes the good outweighs the bad, you gotta deal with it. I'm not arguing against there being one. I'm just saying I'm not a fan of how it's ran. That's more my position. But I'm not libertarian, so whatever you call that.
Okay, cool. So anyway, gosh, what's the last subject you want to do before we wrap up here, man? We've totally gone over our limit here, brother, because we're killing it.
And prior allotment.
I'm loving it. I can't believe the time has blasted by
also,
so fast.
Like I said, it was good to. Like I said, if he doesn't pardon the president, it'll eat up too much of his own time. It's like it's just more from that perspective. Like I said, it might not be the best justice perspective, but it would take away from what Andrew Yang can do in office because there'd be a lot of back and forth you have to deal with.
Well, that's what Gerald Ford said. He said, I am sparing a country this burden. And also, I really like what Andrew Yang said. I hadn't really ever thought of it this way until he'd said it this way. But he said, you know what? I don't feel comfortable putting political opponents behind bars because that's a hallmark of failing democracies where we start imprisoning the guy before us. And you know what? I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. Regardless of what you think about, well, with Clinton, there actually were like legit criminal things, not
but they were
fake
like,
Russiagate scandals.
I have to admit, this is the kind of thing though where politics does get a little bit like, I'm glad cooler heads prevailed. Yes, right. If I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Clinton lied under oath. That was his crime, right?
One of many, but yeah, the big thing that was a zinger was lying under oath.
Okay, but what did he lie about? Cheating on his wife. To be frank, dude, I disagree with that. I don't think someone should be sent to jail because they lied about cheating on their spouse. Even if it was in front of Congress, it's just like, look, man, this got out of hand. Someone was sitting in front of it was Congress, right? I believe.
Yeah.
It was sworn in asking, did you cheat on your spouse? You know what I mean? I as much as I disagree with doing it, I do think it's a little bit like I would not like to see someone in jail for it. You know? I don't know. That's just how I feel it. I don't. It's weird, man. I don't know.
Okay. So anyway, I got a last couple of questions here. New email blast from Gabbard. We missed a debate qualifying poll by one person. Ouch. That is a big ouch.
Hey, every person matters. Ever seen the film Swing Vote with Kevin Costner and Kelsey Grammer?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that one.
Every vote count. That's obviously a ridiculous movie, but yeah.
Mystery Man says VAT is a sales tax. Conservatives love the idea of a sales tax. They will be less resistant. A 10% VAT is reasonable. Conservatives don't love the idea of a sales tax. We fought hard against an increase that Jerry Brown had in the sales tax here of 0.25%. Because they're liars, every last one of them. They said, will you join me in raising the sales tax in California 1/4% to help our children? Jerry Brown and Bernie Sanders sound almost exactly the same. To help our children get better schools and desks and pencils. And then guess what? We raised that 0.25% sales tax, generated billions of dollars in the California economy to go to our kids' schools. Nope, but to go to the general fund, sit there for 7 months, and then go to all the unions and his cronies who are using this stupid bullet train to go from one city in the middle of nowhere in Central California to another city in the middle of nowhere in Central California. Absolute sham, absolute grifter, absolute liar, and we all knew it but the Dems love taxes. So, Mystery Man, I disagree. I think it's the Dems that love the taxes. Conservatives generally like good governance and understand that taxes are a reality. The only people that truly hate taxes are the libertarians, where taxation is theft, man.
Not only libertarians, but
You know.
some people. Good question though.
And we all hate taxes on April 4th.
Yeah, but how do you get the VAT passed? Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe by stuffing the bill with a bunch of nonsense that doesn't help anyone or do anything. I think that's how you get it passed. I think you you go to people until they stuff so much crap in there, it barely works anymore, and then we have to see if this is even close enough to what was originally proposed to be functional. That's how you get it passed, though, right? And then we find out after that.
All right.
He does sound. He did that. That is a. You know what? That's a knockout impersonation of Stan's grandfather from South Park. That is perfect. That is exactly what he sounds like. So you got that one down, dude.
Right. So we're actually going to go film another video, right?
Yeah, the other time tomorrow, right?
I guess we could do it tomorrow if we have to.
Yeah, we'll see what's that. Either way, keep your eyes open for it, guys. It's gonna be really cool. But yeah. Aside from, I don't know. How about this? Really quickly, what's your guys' favorite Kevin Costner movie? Just to play us out.
Oh, dude, there's only one. There's one that reigns supreme. It's like The Ring, dude. It's like The Ring in, not Harry Potter, but The Ring in, what's that movie with the Eye of Sauron? Come on.
What's the? I don't know. What is that?
Not
What is it?
Lord of the Rings.
What
There
is
we
that
are.
little movie? I don't really remember
Yeah.
it, to be honest.
Dude, if it's Kevin Costner, it's got to be Field of Dreams, bro.
A baseball movie. I figured you're gonna go baseball movie.
Oh, what do you mean go baseball movie? It's a glorious film.
No, it is a good movie. I'm just saying he has a couple of those. It's a good one. I guess Bull Durham's also a baseball movie, correct?
Well, I don't know. I got to tell you, one of my other favorite movies was actually a movie that I knew several people that worked with him on it. For years, he wanted it to be a movie, but they finally convinced him
Man
to
of
make it.
Steel. That's my favorite movie with Kevin Costner.
They finally convinced him to make this not a movie, but a series. But the Hatfields and the McCoys. That series was epic, dude. The Hatfields and the McCoys
good.
with Kevin Costner was good.
Hey, tick up.
And I hear he's killing it with the Yosemite franchise. So
That's new. Water. You know what? I don't know if anyone else here is from Los Angeles. When I was a kid, all I knew about Waterworld is when we went to Universal Studios. They had this really cool Waterworld performance with like jet skis and flips and fires and explosions.
oh, it was wicked.
It was really cool. I didn't know it was like this like legendary failed movie that cost a bunch of money and it was like a boondoggle and like it was like this big thing. I just thought, oh, Waterworld. And then so when I watched the movie, I was like, oh, cool, Waterworld. Here's the movie it's based on. And I like the movie, but it definitely Men in Tights. I'm seeing a lot, but yeah, it was. It's funny. It's one of those things. I think it's really cool when you go back and watch media that you don't really that, like wasn't something you remember when it came out. It's like, oh, I didn't even remember this came out. And you watch it, you don't have to worry about all that weird stuff that kind of way. Draft Day, it's a new one. Robin Hood, yeah, it's Kevin Costner's one of those guys. Gotta be frank, like my favorite Kevin Costner movie, he didn't have that many like weird little movies that generally like would stand out as like a favorite, you know? Hold on.
Dances with Wolves and the Bodyguard.
No, Untouchables. No one even mentioned that.
Ooh,
That's
Untouchables was
That's my
a good
favorite
one.
Kevin Costner movie, The Untouchables. It's a great movie.
That's
great
true.
movie, The Untouchables.
Oh, by the way, I will give a free Problem Solver Politics hat signed at least by me. This
Yeah,
is a little
I
bit
won't
of film
sign it.
lore. This is a
Sorry,
little bit of film
guys.
lore. We're gonna see how big of film junkies they are, and it's got to be on the thread before we end here in a couple minutes. What movie? It's considered, I believe, one of the top 5 movies of all time. Actually, I know for a fact it's considered by many in the film community the best movie of the 20th century worldwide. What movie was the end bassinet scene in The Untouchables based off of? Go. If somebody can respond.
That was Battleship Potemkin. Oh,
Psh.
sorry, dude.
You want a hat, Cody? You want a hat, bro?
No, but how about this? One of you lucky people will be picked. I apologize for ruining it.
That was bad. All right, wrap it up, dude. Tell us how we gonna end, man.
How are we gonna end? It's a great question. So, like I said, guys, moving forward, we are looking to be doing more streaming stuff like this. We're probably going to be at a more regular time. It's probably going to be about 7 p.m. Pacific time. 7 p.m. Pacific, that'll be 10 p.m. Eastern, and there's also other time zones that I'm sure you lovely people will know very much how to translate it into. For Love of the Game. Another baseball movie, if I understand correctly. It's got a lot of baseball movies. So, yes. Yeah, exactly, guys. I know. I apologize, guys. We're gonna do something. I'll do something, and don't worry, you guys will have a chance. Why does Cody never wear the hat? Because I don't know, honestly, no reason exactly. Really, I just don't wear hats on. I don't wear hats indoors. There we go. But yeah, thank you guys.
Shout out to our donor today. Who was that?
Daniel. Thank you very much, Daniel.
Daniel, yeah. Thanks a lot,
Very kind.
Daniel.
Thank you. So like I said, guys, you can expect this more regular time moving forward. It's, dude, I know Pacific and I know Eastern, and then I can get by with that. I feel like, but yes, that is so we at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We'll narrow down exactly which days of the week, but weekdays around that time. We'll let you guys know through either Twitter or probably both Twitter and YouTube. So, and we're still doing the hat giveaway. I apologize. As a matter of fact, Carden, I got a great idea. Do you have another question you'd like to bring up? We can do it.
Another question about what? Movie lore?
Yeah, you know some good movie lore.
Oh, dude, I know all kinds of good movie lore.
So come up with a question. If you guys want to hang around for 1 minute, we'll come up with a question. Answer this question either here or you can DM me or just tweet at us at PSP Radio 1 and we'll get a hat. So I won't ruin this one, I swear.
Oh, gosh. Actually, here's a really interesting one. What movie was filmed on the original Bela Lugosi sets of Dracula at Night? There was another movie. Dracula was shot during the day in the 1930s on the sets in the Universal backlot of Dracula, but there was also another movie that was filmed at night by a European film crew, specifically a Spanish film crew. And there was another movie that was filmed that's considered actually superior to Dracula, filmed on the exact same sets. What was that movie? Boom shakalaka, go. Daniel Tice says we need a new topic. Shakaya says LOL. Crap, I guess there's just not a lot of classic monster movie fans. But we'll give it another 2 seconds.
Hey,
Dead and Divine says Citizen Kane, not quite. Oh, Lubella! Lubella got it.
Spanish Dracula.
You go. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize this, but swift motion of genius that I don't understand why.
Spanish Dracula?
Yeah, well, dude, no, you got to go get the DVD set. And the name of the actor, I can't remember. I can't remember who it was, but during the daytime they filmed Spanish Dracula, and at nighttime they would film. I mean, during the daytime they filmed Dracula with Bela Lugosi, and at nighttime they would film Spanish Dracula in Spanish speaking without subtitles. And I don't know why they don't do this more often. Why they don't build sets and then film the Spanish speaking version with Spanish actors at night. I don't know why. To me, it seems like the peak of efficiency. But back then they actually filmed a Spanish version of Dracula, and it is phenomenal. In fact, there's this actual scene where they do this really cool sweeping non-zoom dolly effect when the Spanish-speaking Dracula comes down, and instead of saying, I am Dracula, he actually says, Yo soy Dracula. And it's actually pretty dang awesome, dude. I watched the whole thing.
I believe that. I didn't think about it, and just such a funny answer. Like, whoa,
so
wow.
Lubella's got to send us her address, and we're going to toss her a hat.
Yes. Easiest way, if you use Twitter, you can get to us on Twitter. If not, email us at I believe it's just problemsolverpolitics@gmail.com. So you can email us.
No, it's PSP Radio.
There's also PSP Radio at mail.com. It's another email.
Yeah. Do you check them both?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys, it's been an awesome hangout. Thanks for being here with us. We're going to start doing this on the regular. Sorry, Michael Kwok, Mino Film Nerd. You will be baptized into the sect of film nerdology by the time you're done watching this podcast, my friend. So anyway, it's been great hanging out with you guys. Adios. This is Problem Solver Politics.